Hello, guys, and welcome to the Stardom Cast, your weekly audio source of all things World Wonder Ring Stardom. I'm your host, Rob Godwin. I am joined, as ever, by the soon-to-be Hall of Famer, Mr. Matt Turner. And Matt, as I mentioned to you before we came on air, we are living in a blessed Stardom timeline. Not only have us Momo Watanabe fans, us long-suffering Momo Watanabe fans, been rewarded with a 5-star Grand Prix victory. But we are living in a timeline when the greatest wrestler alive has rightly reclaimed a Stardom championship. Yes, Fukigen Death is a Stardom champion again in 2025. Matt, I dare say I've completed Stardom.
Rob, there's that old saying that bad things come in threes. As you know, I'm a very positive person. I like to look at the positive side. I say good things come in threes. Momo
Mhm.
Watanabe winning the 5 stars you just mentioned. Fuki and Death winning a championship in Stardom. In the main event of Korakuen Hall, which is the last match we're going to be talking about today, by the way.
It is
So
indeed.
that is the main event of the show, folks. There you go. So there is your cliffhanger for the next hour and a half to 2 hours, give or take. So Rob, going, what could the other third person be? Hazuki has said it quite some time on social media that she wonders what's next, buddy. Wonders what's next. I'll let you leave that to your imagination. Brother, I'm doing fantastic. How's everything with the new job? I know you got another promotion or a new position. So he laughs. The evil, Dr. Evil laugh.
So I've become a lecturer now, which is it's a lot of
Electra
work. A
from
lecturer,
Daredevil.
not a letter, not
Oh,
not
I
an
thought you said
electrician.
I thought you said Electra from Daredevil. That's
Oh no. I have not become a lecturer. Although I reckon I've got the face for it. I reckon I could pull that off. No, I've become a lecturer in GCSE English at a college. So yeah, lots and lots of work. Hence why I apologize on Patreon and things. I don't think I'm going to have time to put the news up as frequently as I was doing. I simply am rushed off my feet. Quite frankly, Matt, you're cutting into my time as it is. So there we are. But no, it's going well. It's obviously chaotic at the start when the kids come back, and there's timetabling issues and stuff like that. But yeah, once we've got back into the swing of things, it's going to be fine.
You'll get there, buddy.
Yeah.
You'll get there. Once you figure out the strategy, you'll be O'Connor and rolling people up left and right. Kishi Kasai's up and down, kicking ass as always, brother. But I'm glad, I'm glad that you're doing good over there, my man. And things are well. But you know what, buddy? Obviously, me and you have had some busy weekends. What do you got
Mm.
planned? What's going as we're recording this? This is Thursday. What do you got going on for the weekend? Anything fun?
Well, I mean, this Saturday, of course, is the Dream Star final, so I will be
Sunday.
settling in to watch that, and I will be doing that on Sunday, not Saturday. If I'll be doing that on Saturday, then I will be watching absolutely nothing. No, I'm watching that on Sunday, obviously, but Saturday, me and Kirsty might go out somewhere, might go to some crazy golf or something like that, just to something nice, just the two of us. But other than that, it is a quiet weekend. I am missing playing sport at the weekend. I'm not gonna lie. So currently just trying to distract myself away from that. What about yourself?
Would you say that you're getting itchy playing sports like you are in that wool sweater today, buddy?
Yeah, for those who are watching on YouTube, I've decided that a good idea was to wear a wool sweater with nothing underneath, and I am now really struggling. So if you see me, just my general color just rise to like the same color as this jumper, this red, then you'll know why, because I am on fire. It's like I'm wearing a jumper knitted out of fire ants. So yeah, awful idea. Don't know why I did it.
Folks, I did tell him before we hit the record button, just go and change. Like, just go and change. He's like, no, I'm going to suffer through. And I'm like, you don't need to do that. Like, I'm sure in the room somewhere there's a shirt that you can wear. But
I
I
mean, if Starlight Kid and Tomoka Inaba can suffer, if Sari and Suzu Suzuki, can suffer through that IWG Women's Championship match, I can suffer through being slightly itchy and uncomfortable for an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Rob's going to compete for the IWGP Joshi Championship now because he's suffering like Suzu and
You
Swift
heard it here. You heard it
by
here first.
by dropping each other on their heads. But my weekend is actually it's kind of a quiet weekend. Friday,
Ooh,
probably I probably can take Amber out on a date. That's what I do. I'm a fancy gentleman, so I'll probably take her out
of
for dinner
course.
somewhere. Yes, that's I'm a romantic, Rapco. I'm many
You are.
things in this world.
Absolutely.
Romantic is one. Absolutely, I ever say all the time. She didn't marry me for my brains or my money. Maybe my looks. I don't know. Sense of humor, somewhat. She married me because I'm a romance guy. But
Absolutely.
so that's that Saturday. Probably really nothing much. Is probably getting some stuff, some homework done for the Patreon, which we'll get into in a moment. And then Sunday, I'll be getting up early, for the Dreamstar final. So I'm super excited for that show in Korakuen Hall from Marigold and who's going to come out on top with the dreams, from the Dreamstar, because there's only 5 people that can win it, and all 5 people are really good answers. There's no wrong answer there. So yeah, it's going to be maybe a little bit of a relaxed, a reset weekend, maybe recharge the batteries a little, and then ending it with a fantastic show on tap from our friends over at Marigold, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that Stardom have got 2 shows coming up as well. The cards haven't yet been announced, and I don't know off the top of my head if they're going to be live or video on demand. But obviously, we've had the 5-star. We've just had Stardom to the World, followed by another Korakuen. We have got a blistering Korakuen main evented by Saya Kamatani and Azumi coming up on the 27th. So this very much feels like a period of calm before the storm in terms of Stardom, which is going to be very, very interesting as we head into that Korakuen Hall show, that double title match. But yes, Matt, it's a show where we're going to be talking about 2 fantastic shows. Obviously, we have just had the pay-per-view, Stardom to the World from Yokohama Budokan, some fantastic matches on there. 3 really, really good title matches. Tomoka, Inaba, and Starlight Kid tore the house down as we thought they would. Sadi and Suzu Suzuki tore the house down as we thought they would. And you know what? Saya and B put on a fantastic match which surpassed my expectations. And do you know what? That's the best singles match I've seen Bea Priestley have. I thought she was tremendous. I thought her and Saya had great chemistry. It's their best singles match that I've seen them have. So yeah, really, really, really good pay-per-view. And then Korakuen, 4 title matches, obviously 1 unfortunate injury, which we will get into. But we set up a lot of stuff moving forward for championships as well. So it does feel almost a bit like a transitional period in a way as we head into, Dream Queendom time, but we have got lots of things on the horizon.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting, and I think there's a show Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I think that's the schedule this weekend. Again, as of this recording, no match is announced. So you know what that means, Rob? As soon as we hit the record button, it's gonna be
Yeah,
Shuri's
absolutely.
back, Micah's back, Mina and Mercedes Monet's coming over. All that's what's gonna happen. But it's actually gonna kind of be interesting because we had 4 weeks of the fantastic 5-star Grand Prix. And then Stardom, they gave they basically took a weekend off, and rightfully so. And they gave us Stardom to the World pay-per-view, which again we're going to be talking about in a moment. And then this fantastic Korakuen show. So we kind of have these what we call Stardom World shows on tap, and it's gonna be really interesting to see where they're moving forward. Obviously, Bea Priestley was a part of Stars in the Korakuen Hall show. Will that be the what we're going to see on these shows when they're going to be announced? So it's going to be really cool to see. We're going to go back to like a big tag team format over these next 3 shows that, again, as of this recording, none of the matches are announced because it's kind of like, oh man, for like 6-7 weeks in a row, we haven't had those quote unquote Stardom World shows. It'd be pretty cool to kind of see them, maybe let their hair down a little bit. Because we know from what Willow Nightingale and Megan Bain told us when we were in Las Vegas that these Stardom girls, when there was a pay-per-view, boy, howdy, did they go crazy. And like, yeah, we've seen that over the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, it's having watched those pay-per-views, that comes as absolutely no surprise whatsoever. Let's talk then a little bit about these shows because I'm very excited to get into them. We've got quite a few bits of news from out and about. Obviously, news just tends to be where's Hazuki wrestling next, and we have, of course, got little bits to do with that as well. We have got Starlight Kid giving the collective Stardom fan base a bloody heart attack, and we'll get into that in a moment as well. But before we do any of that, Mr. Matt Turner, you know what time it is, my friend. What, oh, what, good sir, is coming up on the Patreon this month?
Patreon, this past week, our alternate commentary that we released was Bea Priestley defending the World of Stardom Championship against Hana Kimura. back from 2019, right after Hana Kimura won the 2019 5-star Grand Prix. So that alternate commentary is up on your feed. Back after a little bit of a hiatus, a watch along. Myself and Rob Goodwin, we hang out with you for a little bit and watch what, in my opinion, I believe Rob's opinion, is the best match in Marigold's short history. Utami Hayashisa taking on Io Shirai, or Io Sky, from back at Marigold's fantastic show, Summer Destiny, last year. And then coming up this weekend on your feed will be our What If fantasy booking, myself and Andy Header. What if fantasy book? What if Momo Watanabe gets kicked out of Hate on her way to Dream Queendom, which is something that is very, very possible. And I will say this, Rob Goodwin, myself and Andy recorded that just yesterday. And I'll tell you what, it is a definitely must listen. When I get to like the big climax of my ending, got goosebumps. I got a little teary-eyed, my man. I got a little teary-eyed because I think that I kind of really went out there on something, but it's it's pro wrestling, and it's my fantasy booking. So definitely give that a listen. That was me and Andy had some really, really great ideas in our fantasy booking. And then next week on the Patreon, alternate commentary will be Starbomb, Azumi, and Starlight Kid taking on Wing Gory and Saida from May from the Natsupoi Soriano Prado show. Back, I believe it was May 31st. So that was one of my favorite tag matches of the year. That'll be the alternate commentary that will be dropping next week. And then I'm just finishing the homework on it now, so more than likely it'll be on your feed next week. I'm gonna be doing a complete review of the 2022, easy for me to say, Goddess of Stardom Tag League with Black Desire, Momo Watanabe and Starlight Kid. So I figured, obviously Starlight Kid's having a heck of a year. Momo Watanabe coming off her 5-star win. Those two absolutely tore it down back in 2022 as the tag team of Black Desire. So that's what's on the Patreon this week, what's coming up this weekend, and what's coming up next week. And just kind of a quick little update on the Patreon. There will be times, guys, there will be some times where in a month, maybe I won't get to a roundtable discussion, or is it still 5 stars? I'm going to do 2 to 3 episodes a week, which will come out to 8 to 10 a month. So if you're on our $10 tier, that's still only $1 an episode. So plus that entire crazy 3 years of back catalogs of show reviews, title reviews, that's still all going to be in there. And the reason why is just the workload is so much in the best way possible, because Talk Joshi is going to be a weekly thing. About a month or so ago, we had a lot of our listeners saying, can you guys do Talk Joshi every week? I worked the schedule out with Andy Header. So Talk Joshi will be each and every week, to the point where we got a new logo. And thanks to my good friend, Alex Sanchez, who comic book artist, and he's the one that always does the X-Men and Stardom mashups for me on my comic book cover. So I reached out to him. He did the logo for us. So Talk Joshi will be each and every week, and we have more interviews coming up as well. I sent out a lot of emails. There's a lot of things going on with that. So even though the Patreon, there may be again, you're still going to get 8 to 10 episodes a month, which is, again, $1 an episode. Still a really great value, but there's going to be a lot more stuff on the Stardom Cast feed, whether it's the Stardom Cast, Marigold Standard, Talk Joshi, interviews. I mean, a lot of really great stuff coming up for us, buddy.
Absolutely. And just sort of piggyback on that, show reviews and show previews will continue to be on Stardom Cast Extra. Whenever there is a show, they will always be up there. Whenever there's a Stardom pay-per-view, the previews will be up there. Whenever there's a Marigold pay-per-view or a Korakuen, the previews will be up there as well. The news, again, it's going to be a case of I just can't keep on top of the news. This ultimately is just me and Matt and Andy as well, who we couldn't do this without. But ultimately, I just can't keep on top of it, as well as that, and have a full-time job. So something has to give in that way. So the news will still be reported on the Stardom Cast on the Marigold Standard. It just might not be in written form on the Patreon, because again, I am but human, ladies and gentlemen. A very, very red, itchy human.
Yeah, that's your fault. And Rob is right. And this is literally everything that you see on social media and the podcast and YouTube. It's a 3-person team. It's me, Rob, and Andy. So it's literally, it's a 3-headed monster. So it's the 3 of us doing this, and it's awesome. Like the workload, I look at it, I'm like, all right, let's roll. Like we're all about it. Like we tackle it. We keep communication open, regardless of what kind of itchy sweater Rob is wearing. He's still ready to give the best podcast information he can, folks. So I mean, you can't do nothing but applaud that, you know.
Absolutely, despite the itchy sweatiness. Ladies and gentlemen, let's kick into some news then. And we start again with Starlight Kid trying to give the entirety of the Stardom fan base a heart attack. As you will probably remember, on the 5th of September, Stardom announced that there will be a surprise press conference, which ordinarily is never a good thing. It's always only people leaving. And sure enough, the press conference was given. And I don't know if you realize this, there was a new Twitter page called Stardom Project that launched in tandem with the announcement. So I was like, oh, okay, this could be something different. And then the press conference started. And Starlight Kid is sitting there very somberly, sitting next to Taro Okada. And immediately I'm like, don't you dare do this. No, no, no. This is not fair. My heart is going a million miles a second. Then
I didn't even think about that.
Honestly, I was like, we got no, not again. My head's going through Mina, Himika, Mayu most recently. I was like, we can't possibly be doing this. We've heard no, it can't be. Anyway, sure enough, it isn't that. Starlight Kid will be running her own produce show to celebrate her 10th anniversary as a professional wrestler. The event is due to take place Shinjuku Face on October 20th. Honestly, I honestly was
for
like,
you. That's a complete opposite thing. Consider the fact that her and Azumi at the
she had
5.
the audacity to sit there with a somber look on her face. I was like,
but she's wearing a mask. How do you know?
No, you know. There's no one better at emoting under a mask than Starlight Kid. She did announce that, like I said, the show will be taking place on October 20th. She also announced that the main event will be a 6-person mixed tag. She will be teaming with El Desperado and her hero in Dragon Kid as well, against 3 mystery opponents. That's the only match so far that has been announced. Starlight Kid actually made her debut 11th of October 2015 in a 3-way match against Kiyoshi Yoneyama and Momo Watanabe in Korakuen Hall. So don't be surprised if they are also on this show. Matt Turner, a little bit of a stat now. Can you tell me how many matches has Starlight Kid wrestled in her career?
Ooh, let's see. I'm going to go with 789.
Oh, you are very close. 794 matches she has wrestled. And we're going to talk about another one that she's actually wrestled. So 795. This was back when the announcement actually happened. 762 of them for Stardom. So she is one of the most tenured wrestlers in Stardom. There is an official Twitter account that has been launched for the show itself, and you can follow that at SLK_10th. And again, I'm just happy that, do you know what? It's nothing bad. She's not retiring. She's not really injured. She's not having to vacate the belt. It's just something. How bad is it that we're conditioned for that? It's like whenever New Japan put the logo up and it's in black and white, and like, oh my God, what's happened now? That's what I'm getting now with emergency Stardom press conferences. Like, if it coincides with a pay-per-view, fair enough, I know what I'm getting. But this, unacceptable Stardom, that was not on.
Yeah, because usually, like, if they do something with the paper, they give you like 24 hours notice. But this was only a few hours notice.
Yeah.
That is like, and I was like, oh, you know what? I think everybody else seems to be kind of locked up under contract, at least until contract season, spring of next year. So we should be okay. I'm kind of hoping, because we kind of had an idea with Mina. We kind of had an idea with Mayu. The Himika thing back 2 years ago really caught us off guard. But I was like, I think, and again, maybe just my positive outlook. I was like, I think they're just going to be talking about their little Tough Enough thing, like their own version of Tough Enough that they're doing. Maybe that's what I thought it was, because like their Twitter page launched right around the same time they made this announcement. So that's what I thought, and I didn't even think about it until you said, because I didn't catch the press conference live. Like, I found out like an hour later that this is what she was doing. So you were probably watching this live and you saw Starlight Kid just sitting there like this. And it was like, yeah, oh, okay. And instead of her retiring, it's her doing more matches. So the complete opposite.
Exactly. Thank God is all I will say. Thank God. Speaking of Starlight Kid, she was in action today as a part of the Strong Style Pro Wrestling 20th anniversary show, Tiger Mask's promotion. If you remember, we've talked about this promotion before. Starlight Kid was actually in the semi-main event. She was teaming with Joshi legend Jaguar Yokota and Megumi Yabashita against the Prominence team of Hiragi Kurumi, Moki Natsumi, and Risa Seira. So that was live today. Kids team coming out victorious. Also on this card, you had Mirai teaming with Tei Honma against Miku Kanai and Rina Amakori. You also got Spark Rush, Sari and Takumi Aroha against Miria Koga and Nori. And it looks like we might be setting something up between Nori and Sari, which I don't think there is a single Joshi fan in the land that will be upset about that. So, Matt, before you ask, and I know there is going to be this question following up, I have no idea how to watch it.
Okay. Not only that, but we haven't seen really much for what we watch. We haven't seen, I don't think, anything of Nori since last year's Dreamstar. Like
No,
for what
nothing.
we not obviously Stardom cast, we cover Stardom, Marigold's Marigold, and Talk Joshi. It's mostly Sendai Girls, Tokyo Joshi Pro, and some Marvelous
Marvelous.
stuff. So yeah, because she's LLPW. So yeah, we really haven't seen much of her, at least from what we watch over the past year. So her and Sari, yeah, maybe that is because we know we have a Sariism show coming up, I think in November. So like 6 weeks time or something like that. So maybe that's one where they go. But yeah, really, really interesting to see. And again, Starlight Kid, we just made mention. Yeah, just her announcing that she's wrestling more. She wrestled again today. So yeah, she is a busy, busy wrestler. So I think that shoulder injury from the first quarter of this year, I think it's pretty well rested because she just seems to be on each and every professional wrestling show. Like you turn around, like, oh, there's Starlight Kid.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Moving on, and Stardom did announce 2 days ago that more English commentary for shows is imminent. There was a previous announcement, if you remember, the tail end of August, that the five-star Grand Prix, the Stardom five-star Grand Prix final and the Stardom to the World pay-per-view would feature English commentary added in post-production. Stardom have now announced that more dates will feature English commentary. Both of the both of the shows at Korakuen Hall, the one that aired on the 10th of September and the upcoming one on the 27th of September, will feature English commentary courtesy of Walker Stewart added in post-production. We also know that English commentary, I believe, is going to be added for Crimson Nightmare as well, which is the pay-per-view coming up in November. Obviously, Stardom as well will be heading to Historic Crossover in China, which, again, will presumably have English commentary courtesy of Walker and Chris Charlton. So, obviously, we have seen more and more, I don't want to say B-level pay-per-views, but if you consider, your All-Star Grand Queendom and your Dream Queendom, your A-level pay-per-views, your B-level pay-per-views are the rest of the pay-per-view events of the year, and we are sort of used to not having English commentary for them. We are now getting not only more pay-per-views with English commentary, but we're now getting more events that aren't pay-per-views with English commentary as well, even if that English commentary is added in post-production. We saw it with the five-star Grand Prix. We saw it live for the quarterfinals and playoffs in Korakuen Hall. We are now seeing it added in post-production. This is a really good sign for Stardom fans in the West, and speaks to Stardom's interest in growing its international fan base, and also, again, the work done by Walker Stewart as the director of global PR and communications for Stardom. So a really good thing to announce. Again, both Korakuen Hall shows will have English commentary in post.
Yeah, again, excellent stuff here. Walker, he's done such a great job doing the commentary, obviously for Stardom and for New Japan as well, which is obviously his number one priority. So no really better guy to really to be able to emote all the great Stardom wrestling to over the fans over here in the United States and England for the English speaking fan base. So yeah, excellent stuff. My guess is, and again, we don't know, we don't have any confirmation. My guess is very much like last year, it'll probably be live for commentary for Dream Queendom at the end of the year. You know, that's just my somewhat educated guess, Rob. It's the biggest show of the year. We know that the pre-sale and the pre-sale tickets already went on sale, and I think like 6 sections are already sold out for a show that's like 4 months away, which is absolutely crazy. So yeah, again, this is great because you know we've been hearing, Rob, for years and years and years that we need more English commentary, more English content for Stardom, and we're getting that. I think Walker is the perfect person to spearhead that.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. I think Walker's done a brilliant job since becoming the voice of Stardom English commentary. Moving on to, again, as I mentioned before, what is increasingly becoming just Hazuki Watch. Hazuki will be featuring on the next Oz Academy show, which is called Battle Big Bonus. And this will be emanating from Hazuki's hometown in Fukuoka. She was announced that she will be taking part on the show on September 14th. She has now been announced to be in a 6-woman tag team match. She'll be teaming with Hiroya Matsumoto and Zones against the Phantom Limit team of Akino Kohaku and Unagi Sayaka. The rest of the card, by the way, is as follows. There's an Oz Academy Pioneer 3-way championship match. Show the champion will be taking on Mast Hanahana and Tsubasa Kuragaki. We've got Sonoko Kato and Ryo Mizunami versus Jaguar Yokota and Mayumi Ozaki. Sioriano versus Itsuki Aoki, and Momoka Hanazono and Kiori Yoniyama against Ram Kaichao and Hanoka as well, who has recovered from that sternum injury. So a good solid show airing from the Nishitetsu Hall in Fukuoka on September 14th, Matt.
Yeah, it really seems like an Oz Academy we're having like a Hazuki versus Akino feud because we saw them in a tag match about a year ago. We know they had a singles match not that long ago. And if anybody knows how to watch said match, please let me know so we can review it either here on the Stardom Cast or Talk Joshi, because I heard it was all sorts of violent, which is obviously my jam, Rob Goodwin, as you always say. And this match here is going to be fantastic. Obviously, Kohaku, she was terrific in last year's Goddess of Stardom Tag League tournament, teaming with May Sarah as part of Star Fox. Unagi, obviously no stranger to the Stardom ring. And then obviously you have Zones Matsumoto, who was a finalist in the second Cinderella tournament, I believe, which Mayu won, and Hazuki. So this 6-person tag match is going to be all sorts of terrific, excellent stuff. Again, you're absolutely right. It is definitely a Hazuki watch over there on the Joshi Independence. That is for sure.
Yeah, former Goddess of Stardom and Artist of Stardom champion Hiroya Matsumoto. And again, we are going to be focusing a little bit more on Hazuki in a moment because Sendai Girls have done the predictable and announcing another fantastic card and a dream tag match that we have been hoping for a long time. But just before we delve into that, speaking of Mayumi Ozaki, obviously we're going to be talking about a match in a little bit between her and Natsuko Tora that took part at Stardom to the World in Yokohama Budokan. This will have a follow-up match because at Oz Academy's show on September 7th in Shinjuku Face, Mayumi Ozaki actually confronted Stardom president Taro Okada, who seems to love taking bumps, by the way, and she demanded a match against Natsuko Tora at the Oz Academy Yokohama Budokan show, which will be taking place at, again, Yokohama Budokan on October 19th. Okada agreed to the matchup. Hate then stormed the ring during Mayumi Ozaki's match. And it will not just be a singles match. It will actually be a match between the revived Saki-gun, which is Mayumi Ozaki's stable, against Hate. Now, if Saki-gun lose, Mayumi Ozaki must join Hate as their lowest ranked member. Which is an interesting stipulation and one I'm looking forward to seeing. I imagine that we have quite differing opinions on the singles match from Stardom to the World, and I can't wait to talk to you about that. But Matt, an interesting little wager at the end of this multi-woman match.
Yeah, it should be something fun, something different. Obviously, Hate is the the really cool faction in the biggest Joshi company in Japan, so that's going to bring a lot of people and it's going to put a lot of butts in seats. So I think it's interesting using that, that way. And you're continuing this feud with Tora and Ozaki. And again, we'll get into the good and the bad and the indifferent in their match from Stardom to the World, because there was all of it in there. There was some good, there was some stuff, and I was like, I don't understand this. But again, we'll get into it. And we'll throw the ideas off each other, my friend. So but yeah, again, interesting stuff. I always like seeing the Stardom wrestlers kind of doing other things, because ultimately there are some fans that only watch Oz Academy that may have never seen Stardom before, that may get more eyes onto Stardom, and vice versa. And ultimately, I don't like wrestling tribalism, as you know that, Rob. So ultimately, if Oz Academy and both Stardom can benefit from this relationship and put more, again, butts in seats, and create more buzz, it does better business for everybody. Who doesn't want to see that? We've seen that before. We've seen that with Marvelous and Marigold. They're doing, that partnership's working out really good. Great. Sendai Girls and Stardom, that's working out great as well. So yeah, I mean, ultimately, if both companies can benefit from it, I'm all for it, for what is going to be obviously an interesting match, but an interesting stipulation into it, my friend.
Going back to Hazuki then, and yes, Sendai Girls decided that they were going to spoil us ahead of their show, the big show in Sendai, as it is called, on the 23rd of September, which will be airing from the Sendai Sun Plaza Hall, which I believe is where Sendai Cinderella aired from, where Utami dethroned Mayu Iwatani in front of a silent crowd. And yes, even though it was 4 years ago, I'm never going to stop talking about it. However,
Almost five. Almost 5.
almost 5 years ago, I'm never going to stop talking about how bad that crowd was. However, that being said, we have been spoiled, because FWC will be taking on Bob Momo Banana in a Sendai Girls World Tag Team Championship #1 contender match. That on its own would be worth the price of admission. There's other Stardom participation, though, because Rian will be taking on Yuna, brand new Sendai Girls Junior champion. Yuna in absolutely stone cold. Rena will be taking on or will be challenging for the junior championship. We've also got a singles match between Sari and Manami announced, and just casually in the main event, Mikari Wata versus Chihiro Hashimoto for the Sendai Girls World Championship. Because why the hell not? Matt, 4 matches announced. This show looks stacked.
Yeah, I didn't know that this match with Bob Momo Banana and FWC is a #1 contenders match. So the winner of this then takes on Team 200 KG. Wow.
Correct.
Wow. And again, I've already had a lot of people ask me, and I've already answered. I'm answering here. Yes, we are 100% covering the show on Talk Joshi. We just have to figure out, obviously, because it's on a Tuesday. It's on like a random Tuesday, so it's this show looks terrific. And then we don't know what the other matches are going to be. Usually with the Sendai Girl shows, it's like 6 or 7 or sometimes 8. But I mean, these 4 matches are just absolutely jam packed. That Suri versus Manami match I'm really looking forward to, because Manami, as great as she was in last year's 5-star Grand Prix, she has really grown her stuff. Like, she is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, obviously Miko Wada versus Chihiro Hashimoto, probably the 2 cornerstones of current Sendai Girls. But this is the match I'm looking forward to the most. I'm a tag team wrestling person. I love Bob Momo Banana. I love FWC. This match is going to be like 3 or 4 matches in one, because you're going to have the comedy. You're going to have the bear and the banana. Like, you're going to go there. And then you're going to get
banana.
Yeah, absolutely right. And then you're going to get like the great tag team wrestling, and then you're going to get like a really blitzing sequence with me and Momo and Hazuki. So this is the match I'm looking forward to the most. I'm super excited about it. But did you by chance see the last Sendai Girls show where it was a 6-person tag match, where it was Bob Momo Banana? I forget who they teamed with, but they went up against Valentina Rossi, Lena Cross, and Venny.
I didn't know.
There's a spot in the match. There's a spot in the match where Lena Cross is running the ropes, and Bob Momo Banana are doing like their tag thing stuff. And they throw the banana hat in the ring, and Lena Cross slips on the banana. I thought that was so good. Dude, it was so good.
I was like, I
almost fell out of this
Matt
chair.
would have loved that.
I almost fell out of this chair. It was so good. I was like, oh, terrific stuff. So I'm super. Again, this whole entire show coming up in just about 2 weeks' time. Really, really loaded. That again, Miko Wada, Hashimoto. That is, as you say, my man, my jam. Hard hitting professional wrestling. right up my alley. But man, this match, it was like, yeah, I woke up on I think it was Tuesday morning, and I saw that my phone I had a whole bunch of tweets at me, and I was like, oh, well, all right then, I'll take that. Thank you, Sendai Girls. Sendai Girls always giving us the dream matches that we don't know we want until they're like right there in front of our face. So yeah, really, really great stuff. Good seeing FWC wrestle some other tag teams outside of Stardom, because there's some great Joshi tag teams outside of the Stardom and the Marigold Bubble. And probably with the exception of Red Energy, probably Bob Momo Banana, probably my favorite one.
And finally, just before we delve into the pay-per-view from the 6th of September, Hanako is the latest Stardom wrestler to record a match outside of the promotion. She was on today, as we record, the 11th of September. She was on the PPP Tokyo show in Shinjuku Face, where she recorded a singles victory against Achika Miyavi, hitting her with the JP Coaster to record the victory. Chan Yota also on that show, coming out in brand new gear and looking stellar. Unsurprising that Hanako's gone over here, Matt, as it looks like Hanako is about to be pushed a little harder, one thinks.
Yeah, again, she won the that Battle Royal Rumble back at All-Star Grand Queendom, earned herself a shot against Starlight Kid. They packed the house in a great Wonder of Stardom Championship match. Korakuen Hall back in the spring had a really great showing and a strong showing in the 5-star Grand Prix. I believe she just had to win one of her last 2 matches and she would have qualified for the playoffs. So not only she had a really good in her first 5-star Grand Prix, had a really great showing as far as wrestling wise goes, but as far as points wise goes. So again, I think Hanako is one of the great bright young stars in Stardom that I can see pushing towards the top of the card between the end of this year and the beginning of next year.
Well, as we know, Hanako absolutely hates 30-year-olds, and we're going to be getting into that in a moment. So, Hanako, not quite my favorite person at the moment.
I'm in my 40s, so I think I'm clear, right? I'm good.
You're fine, yeah. Apparently, only because Aya Sakura she's not even 30, she's 29. She's not even 29 yet either, which was cause for quite a hilarious backstage segment following the pay-per-view.
Rob, real quick, you missed one little bit of news, buddy. Did you by chance see Sherry's Twitter today?
I did not.
Death is coming. It was just a bunch of like 10-second videos of her kicking a bag, and that's all you needed. Death is coming.
Oh dear Lord.
Yes.
Oh dear Lord.
Yes.
Well, she has got that tag team match. I believe it's at the 14th. I think it's this weekend, where she's teaming with Hikaru Shida. So obviously Sherry making her oh no, she's had it. She's done it. It's happened. It was the 9th. I think it was the 9th.
Was it good, Rob?
I haven't seen it.
I was joking. I thought you were going to go with it. It was great. It's tremendous.
I mean, Hikaru Shida and Sherry, so like, come on. But yes, so that has actually happened, thinking about it, because I remember seeing the GIFs of it online now. So yeah, looking forward to seeing that whenever it does eventually surface online. With that being said, then let's delve into some show reviews, because Stardom have their latest pay-per-view this last Saturday, the 6th of September 2025, with Stardom to the World from Yokohama Budokan. The attendance inside the Yokohama Budokan in Kanagawa, 1,814 people, which Stardom did announce as a sellout for the way they had configured the venue. Not only is that a 40.93% increase on the previous show at the venue, which, bear in mind, it was night 10 of the 5-star Grand Prix, main evented by Sari and Momo Watanabe, which drew 1,293, but it is Stardom's second highest ever attendance at the venue of the 19 times they've now run it. It's their highest since the 5-star Grand Prix finals in 2023, where they drew over 2,500 people. It's also the third highest attendance at the venue in 2025, coming behind New Japan's G1 Climax show, which drew 2,448, and Dragon Gate's Gate of Bayside show, which drew a hair over 2,000 people as well. In terms of the quick results, then, we open with a 3-way match. Rian defeated Akira Kurogane and Fukigen Death with the Hanaguruma in 5 minutes and 1 second. In a singles match, Rina defeated Emma Maishima with the Pink Devil in 8 minutes and 38 seconds. Tag team match, Rice or Bread, Hanako and Waka Tsukiyama defeated Aya Sakura and Kikyo Furusawa. Hanako pinning Aya with the JP Coaster in 8 minutes and 26 seconds. Another tag team match, Meisera and Dark Silhouette defeated Cosmic Angels, Yuna Mizumori and Sayaka Kurora. Meisera actually connecting with the checkmate, which might be the biggest cause for surprise in this entire episode in 9 minutes and 43 seconds. In a 6-woman tag match, the hate team of Momo Watanabe, Konami, and Azusa Inaba defeated the Mivida Loca trio of Bozilla, Rini Yamashita, and Itsuki Aoki, with Momo getting the pinfall over Itsuki Aoki with the Tequila Sunrise in 10 minutes and 14 seconds. 8-woman tag team match, the God's Eye team of Hina, Saki Kashima, Rana Yagami, easy for me to say, and Kyoko Kotatsu defeated the Stars Quartet of Hanan, Sayurita, Momokogo, and Uriah Hime with a modified jackhammer. Hina hitting Momokogo in 10 minutes and 26 seconds. 4-way tag team match, the Reiwa Tokyo Towers, Amisori and Lady C defeated O2 Line, Azumi and Miyu Amasaki, FWC, Hazuki and Koguma, and Theoripoi, Natsupoi and Sioriano. Amisori pinning Miyu Amasaki, who had a miserable 2 days, by the way, with like a thunderbolt in 6 minutes and 25 seconds. We then move into our quote-unquote main event matches. There was a singles match. Natsuko Tora defeated Mayumi Ozaki with a Death Valley Bomb in 12 minutes and 43 seconds. In an IWGP Women's Championship match, Sari defended the belt successfully, defeating Suzu Suzuki with a brutal wrist clutch Uranagi in 22 minutes and 33 seconds. Safeties for losers, apparently. Semi-main event, Wonder of Stardom Championship match. Phenomenal match, by the way. Starlight Kid, the champion, defeating Tomoka Inaba with the modified Black Tiger leg killer in 21 minutes and 15 seconds. And then in your main event, the World of Stardom Championship, Saya Kamatani, the champion, defeating B. Priestley, getting revenge for that final night loss in the 5-star Grand Prix, pinning B with the Star Crusher in 22 minutes and 34 seconds. Now, Matt, obviously, before we delve into the actual results, we did have the announcement of the 5-star Grand Prix 2025 awards. So the categories were as follows. Obviously, you had the winner and the runner-up. You then had technical skill, outstanding performance, fighting spirit, and then we had a best match for each of the blocks, all 4 of them, and then for one of the finals matches, so playoffs, quarterfinals, semifinals, and final. It was a very good tournament to be Rina, who in her first ever 5-star Grand Prix not only was the breakout star and possibly the MVP as well, she also picked up 4 of these awards. So these are what Stardom announced as their awards. And obviously, me and Matt will discuss. You give our opinions. We'd love to hear what you think of this and what yours would be as well. So 5-star Grand Prix winner, obviously, undeniable Momo Watanabe, and the runner-up Azumi. They're not really up for debate.
Hot take from Rob Goodwin.
There you go. The technical skill award went to Rina, as did most of the other ones. Outstanding performance award went to Suzu Suzuki. The fighting spirit went to Rina. The matches of the tournament. So Blue Stars A went to Bozilla versus Sioriano from Korakuen Hall on the 6th of August, which I must admit, I'm very happy that that match got some love because it was a phenomenal match. Blue Stars B was the opening match of the night between, the opening night match between Sari and Konami from the 27th of July, which was slightly surprising. Red Stars A match was Saya Kamatani versus Meisera from the 16th of August. I can imagine we probably both have a different match for that one. And then Red Stars B match of the tournament was Rina and Natsuko Tora from the 2nd of August, which again was a good match. I don't know if I'd have given it my best match from the block, but again, wasn't a bad match by any stretch. Best finals match of the tournament, Azumi versus Rina from the 23rd of August. Genuinely, I don't think you could pick a match and it be a wrong choice.
Sure.
Because you look at what happened at Korakuen on the 20th, and of course on the 23rd at Ota Ward, just back to back to back. I mean, listen to our review of the show from the 20th, and we're just like, this match was phenomenal. This match was phenomenal. This match was great. This match was great. Literally match after match after match after match, starting from Bozilla and Suzu Suzuki in the opening slot all the way through to Rina and Natsupoi at the end. Like every match absolutely hit. And then both semifinals and the final obviously hit as well. So I think that's a case if you could pick any match, and I think anyone would be fine with that. In terms of the matches of the tournament, then, Matt, let's start with Blue Stars match A, simply because that's the first on my list. Bozilla versus Soriano. I'm going to agree with that because if you remember when we did our top fives at the end of the finals, that was certainly in my top five. I think it was number 5 in my top 5 matches of the entire tournament. So I'm more than happy with that.
Yeah, and again, I'm kind of just going off the top of my head as far as I'm going to agree with you on that one. Again, different answers, different days. I think like my top 5 was my top 6 was pretty solid on what I had. But as far as that, but the Blue Stars there, I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna agree with you and agree with Stardom, Bozilla and Soriano. And again, really kind of no wrong answer because there's so many great matches in that block. But Bozilla versus Soriano, not only was it a great match, but the crowd was really invested. And what a great finish, because you didn't know which way it was going to go. It was going to go Ano, it was going to go Bozilla, and eventually went the way we didn't think about until the bell rang. The good old TLD, buddy. So again, really, really great match between two phenomenal wrestlers.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple of other choices. Obviously, you could have had Amisori versus Soriano. That was great as well. I thought that
Tommy and Ida.
Amisori bit. Yeah, Ami and Ida was the one I was going to go to next. Yeah, that was fantastic as well. Blue Stars B match of the tournament, Sari versus Konami from the 27th. I know why they've chosen this, and obviously Sari believes she knows why they chose this as well. She cut a very scathing promo at Stardom saying the only reason you've chosen this match is because I lost it, which did make me giggle, I must admit, because Sari's such a fantastic heel. This wouldn't have been my Blue Stars B match of the tournament, and I'll be perfectly honest, wouldn't have been close either. Matt, what would you have chosen in terms of Blue Stars B?
This was great, but I liked Suzu versus Momo better.
Mm-hmm.
I like Suzu versus Suri better. I like
Mm-hmm.
Suri versus I would go with Suri and Momo Watanabe. I think that
The
that
quarterfinal or the actual match
the
from...
actual match, because then we'll talk about
Right,
the
okay.
playoffs. That's either that or Suzu and I mean, Konami and Suri, sorry, was really, really good. Don't get me wrong, but those other matches I just liked a little bit more. I'm gonna go with Suzu and Suri. That would be my pick. But different days you get different answers. It's basically kind of almost a toss up between Momo, Suzu, and Sari. But I tell you what, I
Yeah.
like the Momo and Konami match. That was a really great hidden gem of a match. I believe it was night 2 of the tour, but the two of them just kicked the crap out of each other for 10 minutes. But yeah, I would have to kind of mix it. But just to give you an answer, I'm gonna go with Sari and Suzu. Maybe just because we're gonna be talking about it in a little bit.
Maybe, yeah. They upped the violence in the IWGP
Oh,
Women's Championship match. Goodness gracious me. I think Momo and Suzu was fantastic. And again, you can see why Suzu got the Outstanding Performance Award, because she had great matches with everyone. Hanako, Hina, Konami, even a Momo Kogo match was really good as well. Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you, unsurprisingly. It could have been either Suzu and Sari or Suzu and Momo. Or indeed, like you mentioned, Sari or Momo. Personally, for me, though, I think Suzu versus Momo was the best match of B Block. Red Stars A, Saya Kamatani versus Mei Seira from Yokohama Budokan on the 16th of August. This was a good match, a really good match, undoubtedly. But again, I feel like there was a number of matches you could have chosen here, which were, I thought Mei versus Yuna was actually better than Mei versus Saya. I thought that Hanan versus Saya at Korakuen Hall was a little bit better as well. You've got Yuna, and I thought Yuna and Hanan was a solid match as well. There's several different Hannah and B actually at Utsunomiya. I thought that was a really good match. There's lots of really good matches, But for me, Red Stars A is the hardest one to call because I can't think of one that immediately stands out. Whereas with Red Stars B, I think we will probably both have the same match. This one for me is quite difficult. I don't think Sire and May will be number one for me, but also I think it would be a toss up between a few different matches. For me personally, I'm probably going to go Sire and Hanan.
I'm gonna agree with you, Sai and Hanan, but right underneath there is Hanan and May. Like right, I mean
Yes.
they're right there. And I always say different
I
days.
knew
You'll
I'd
get
forgotten one. I couldn't remember what it was.
that match was great. I think it was on the same show as what's probably our number one for the next block we're going to talk about. And again, folks, let us know in the comment section what your favorite matches are. That's what's great. There's no wrong answer other than the fact that Momo won and Azumi came in second because clearly that's what happened. So
That is undeniable, guys. We can't just shoehorn Fukigen Death in much as we'd love to.
knew he was going to go there. I saw it coming. I still couldn't get out of the tracks. Yeah, again, this whole tournament was really terrific, and I can't wait to go kind of go back and watch some of these matches now, especially the final night with Walker Stewart with the commentary. Love to go back and watch the finals and the semifinals. But I'm going to go with Saya and Hanan from Korakuen Hall with Hanan and May just right below it, right below. What a great tournament for Hanan.
Yeah, really good. Bit underrated, to be perfectly honest, because obviously coming out of that tournament, you're talking more about Sire and B with that red belt match and everything.
Sure.
I feel like Hanan was sort of almost a third wheel, and it's a shame because then she had a fantastic match with Azumi in the playoffs. Red Stars B. Gee, I wonder what your match would be. Rina versus Natsuko Tora. It was certainly a different match, and actually, it still was a good match. But for me, I don't even think it makes the top three matches, and that's nothing against this match. It's just that Red Stars B, like Starlight Kid versus Tomoka Inaba on that first night, was brilliant. Azumi versus Starlight Kid, which, spoiler, is my match of Red Stars B, unsurprisingly. Natsupoi versus Starlight Kid on the final night. There's a whole number of matches that you could choose. Tomoka Inaba versus Azumi, Arena versus Starlight Kid. There's several matches that I thought topped Rina and Natsuko Tora. But for me, it's probably going to Starlight Kid and Azumi, then Starlight Kid and Tomoka Inaba, and then probably Rina and Starlight Kid.
Yeah, it's definitely Azumi versus Starlight Kid. It's actually probably my number 6. When we did our review, it just missed the top 5 because the top 5, it was all pretty much everything for the
All
last 2
finals,
nights.
wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, holy jeepers, they really ramped it up. But yeah, it's definitely Azumi versus Starlight Kid, one of my favorite matches between the two of them. And again, what was so monumental about that match, it went to the time limit draw. It was the main event. They both said at the same time, we are Stardom. They planted their flag. It was just like, how many people have left over the last 2 years? We stayed.
Mm-hmm.
We are the current crop of Stardom. Like they put their footprint down. This is going to be us in Stardom for a long, long time. And again, and this is what we're getting. If these two are two of the flag bearers for Stardom, current day Stardom, and Stardom over the next few years, we are in for a treat, buddy. We are in for a treat because yeah, this was my favorite match of the tournament. You're right, Tomoka, Starlight Kid, for the opening night. That was my favorite match of the tournament for the first maybe handful of shows. Starlight Kid and Sayaka Kurora, Natsupoi, and Starlight Kid was really good. Sayaka Kurora versus Azumi. Even Stone Cold Rion having some really, really great matches. That Kurora Natsuko Tora from, I believe, Korakuen was
really good. I can't believe I didn't mention that because that was a really, really good match from Korakuen. Yes, absolutely.
And I think the genius behind that, well, you could have put that on any venue and it would have been great because of Korakuen. They love them.
Korakuen Hall
Some Sayaka Kurora, I just bumped that match up even better. But again, really great matches. Rob, what's great about, we can literally do a 3-hour podcast, like going back on this year's 5-star Grand Prix, talking about certain things. But yeah, I totally agree with you with that one. As great as that block was, and that was the that was the murderous row block of this tournament, in my opinion. I believe yours as well. Yeah. But that, for me, it's a clear Azumi and Starlight Kid. I mean, those two are on a completely different world. And again, folks, let us know in the comment section below what matches you enjoyed. What were some of your kind of hidden gems from the 5-star Grand Prix?
And then finally, your best finals match of the tournament. Again, I'm not gonna argue with Rina versus Azumi because that was a phenomenal match. I thought Rina versus Natsupoi as well on the final night was really good. Obviously, Saya Kamatani and Azumi was phenomenal. The final, Azumi and Momo Watanabe, I gave the perfect 5 stars. I thought was tremendous. Saori Anou and Suzu Suzuki. I thought was really, really good as well. And look at that opening match. Bozilla and Suzu Suzuki literally just beating the hell out of each other around Korakuen Hall. Great fun. Really, really good fun. And I actually thought that Rena gave B. Priestley her best match of the tournament as well during that final show. So again, for the sake of argument, I'm certainly not going to go into it and go, well, actually, I thought Rena and Azumi was only second best. I think whatever match you picked from the finals, I'm fine with that because we were blessed with an incredible final 2 shows of this 5-star.
Yeah, Momo and Soriano, on that block
Absolutely, yeah,
lineup.
of
I
course.
mean, it literally those last 2 matches, those last 2 nights were so good. You literally almost kind of not forget, but everything else was just so blitzing great that was terrific. And again, there was so many must-see match of the year candidates on that Corkin show and then the final night. But for me, and I mentioned during our final, I mentioned it now, Azumi versus Momo Watanabe not only would win that for me, but for me is the greatest 5-star Grand Prix match ever. Not final. That's the greatest 5-star Grand Prix match ever. Just especially with knowing what you know, especially if you're watching Stardom and studying Stardom like we do, partner, with the whole backstory with Momo and Azumi being a team from since 2018, winning the tournament, the Goddess Tournament 2020, never winning the belts, the Momo heel turn, all the Queen's Quest stuff going on there. You would add that into what was a great match, and you just flood it with emotion. So it's great. Again, there's no wrong answer. But for me, clearly the best match, not only this tournament, but in my opinion, the history of the 5-star Grand Prix was Momo Watanabe versus Azumi. And probably my second favorite match in all of wrestling this year, just behind Starlight. Yeah, not Starlight Kid, excuse me. Sai Kamatani and Tam from All-Star Grand Queendom.
Yeah, phenomenal match, obviously. Technical skill award, Rena. I don't have an issue with that personally.
Yeah, clean it up.
Outstanding performance award, Suzu Suzuki. Well, let me put it this way. When we were asking what our best matches in Blue Stars B was, all of the matches involved Suzu. So I think that speaks for itself. And then she had a great match with Bozilla and a fantastic quarterfinal with Soriano. So again, even though you could insert Azumi in that, Starlight Kid in that, Tomoka Inaba in that, even Natsuko Tora, who was a real low-key MVP of this tournament and deserves a lot of credit as well. I think that Suzu Suzuki, just in terms of underrated workers on this damn roster, like I'm so glad she gets her flowers here because genuinely, every time she's given the nod, she's so damn good in the ring. She's so compelling to watch, and you can't help but, that match with Saya Kamatani that basically, there was no real build to it or anything like that, but it was still a phenomenal match. You look at her IWGP Women's Championship match here against Sari, which was borderline GBH, and another great match. Suzu every time. I can't think of a big Suzu Suzuki match where she hasn't delivered. And, we're dating all the way back now to 2022, and again, every single time she's put on an absolute banger. So I'm more than happy with that as an outstanding performance award. Again, if you were to choose pretty much anyone from Red Stars B, then I'm there with you as well. Fighting Spirit Award, Rena. I think that one, simply because Rena's already got 85 awards. I'd like to have seen that go to a Rian.
Yep, I was going to say Rian, absolutely. Or a Waka. Because
Do you know what? Actually, no, I disagree with myself.
Oh, you just go ahead, sir. And I want to say something about Suzu after you're done with this. Go ahead.
Uriah Himi.
Oh, yeah.
Because she was in a block where she got pasted week after week after week. And I remember, oh my God, I remember that match where she turned up against Bozilla. And in the preview, me and you are both gone, that match isn't going 30 seconds. Bozilla is going to absolutely destroy this poor girl. And we also said we thought that Akira Kuragane probably should have qualified over Uriah Himi. That was our thought. And Uriah Himi completely proved both of us wrong. She had a fantastic tournament. She did far better, despite picking up no points. She did far better than both of us thought she would do. She was committed. She was the epitome of fighting spirit in the face of, again, Bozilla, or Amisori, or, even Sayarida, who hits like a train. she kept getting up. She kept coming back for more. And that for me is the epitome of fighting spirit. So Rihanna close second, because again, I thought she had a really good tournament. Sayaka Kurora had a really good tournament. But for me, it's Uriah Hime.
Yeah, really good pick. And I just want to just piggyback on what you said with Suzu Suzuki. And I was thinking about this the other day that, we're 8.5 months into this year. And if you're, and whoever your worker of the year is, depending on what you watch, again, is subjective. But like, if you don't have Suzu in your top like 7 or 8 workers of the year on what she's done this year, it's very, I mean, look at the New Year's Dream tag match, the main event, where it's her and Starlight Kid versus Momo Watanabe and Sai Kamatani. It's amazing. And then you go a few weeks later, her and Kamatani and Korakuen Hall breaking the record in Korakuen Hall in what I think is an instant 5-star match. Probably my second or favorite third tag match in all of wrestling this year, back at the Path of Thunder, dun, 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 rock and roll with Suzu and Mei Sarah, Crazy Star, remember them, against Wing Gory. And then I think about the Unit League, which the Unit League was a new concept, which I thought was great. Neo Genesis was the clear MVPs. Yeah. And again, remember, Suzu was in Neo Genesis, if you remember that, Rob. And then speaking of Suzu in and on Neo Genesis, her and Mei Sarah absolutely stole the undercard on the best show of the year at All-Star Grand Queendom.
Absolutely did.
You throw in the great tag matches she's had as being the leader, Mi La Vida Loca, then what she's done in the 5-star, and then the damn near murder that we're going to talk about her with her and Sari here. Is there really 6 or 7 wrestlers in all of wrestling that, as far as wrestling-wise goes, has had a better match quality than Suzu Suzuki? There really hasn't been many. Like Bandito, Ospreay, obviously Kamatani, Izumi, Starlight Kid, Io, maybe Takeshita, and that's, in my opinion, about it. Like, she's a top 10 worker of the year for me in all of professional wrestling. She's having an awesome year, and you're absolutely right, buddy. I'm glad that she got her flowers here, because she's somebody that is very, very underrated, but somebody that the diehards like me, you, Andy Header, and our fan base absolutely love. We love some Suzu Suzuki.
I mean, the disrespect you've just shown to Fukigen Death and Megaton is unreal, but it's fine. We'll gloss over that.
They're right there. It's Suzu, then it's Fukigen Death, and then it's Megaton. But I don't know. Now that Fukigen Death had, in my opinion, the best match in Korakuen Hall this past week, buddy. So came out on top, and she did the Chaos Theory.
Absolutely. Let's move on then to some of these matches, and again, some of these probably will take a little less time as we get through to those main event matches. But we did start with a pre-show match. Speaking of which, the Clown didn't win a 3-way match, which was quite surprising. Rian getting the pinfall over Death. Clown, Matt, obviously this opening the show, 5 minutes, did what it needed to do.
Yeah, you had your comedy in there with Fukigen Death, and then obviously you have Akira and Rihanna. You kind of have the two younger, the two rookies in there with the veteran, the Space Clown and Fukigen Death. But I thought this was a sure shoe-in. It's a 3, maybe it wasn't in Korakuen Hall. Maybe that's what it was. And it threw Fukigen Death off. It was fun enough. 3.25 stars. Did needed what to do. It's kind of your pre-show on YouTube as the crowd's filing in. So just some real fun stuff. And again, it's really nice to see Akira and Rihanna getting a match in front of a sold-out Yokohama Budokan Hall show. And again, free match on YouTube. That's a great driver to get new people into watching Stardom. So, yeah, ultimately, I thought it was good that Rihanna got the win. Stone cold. Stone cold
indeed. Now, for those of us on YouTube who are looking at the graphic along with us, Akira Kurogane has been done dirty on this graphic.
It's really small.
Why is she so small? Like, she's in there with the 2 smallest wrestlers on the roster in Rihanna and Fukigen Death. And they've just tracked her down to make it. And I don't know if it's supposed to be a perspective thing because she's closer, but it just looks like she's smaller.
They could even move the logo up to the top of the screen. There's like an inch there. They could have put her up to make her bigger, but I guess, maybe we'll put more thought into that than anybody else does.
She has been done. It's the first thing I realized with this graphic. I was like, good God, why is she so small? Anyway, moving on to what was a phenomenal opening to this pay-per-view. I thought this was so much better than it had any right to be. Rina versus Emma Maishima. Now, if you remember, this was a singles match at New Blood, where unfortunately a springboard crossbody from Emma Maishima led to Rina getting legitimately concussed and knocked out, and with the referee then throwing the match out, which actually gave Emma Maishima her first singles victory in very tainted conditions. And this obviously, Rena sort of spoke about this after this match and said that obviously it had bothered Emma Maishima, which is presumably why they shook hands afterwards, to show that there was no hard feelings. And you never ever ever, unless you are, again, pardon my French, unless you're a knob, you don't go out to try and hurt someone in a wrestling match. So obviously, I don't think anyone thought after that New Blood match that Emma had done that on purpose. But anyway, we got a rematch here, and this was such a good match. It was such good fun as Rena continues her worker of the year sort of, yeah, again, her worker of the year sort of resume. It's been phenomenal, Rena. Just match after match after match.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that until you just mentioned it, buddy. Yeah, it was a rematch from that what had happened on that accident. So this was a great way to start off the actual show. Again, that three-way was the pre-show, 8.5 minutes. You gave Emma enough time to tell her story. And we've been saying this like in the last year and change, Rena at 17, 18, and going to be 19 soon, leading matches against rookies. It's one thing to be great in the ring in a tag match or a 6-person match or something like that, or having one of, a Momo Watanabe or Shuri lead you through a match. But she's not only leading matches, but doing it very, very successfully. Because Emma, I thought this was her best singles match to date. I think she's great.
Agreed.
I think she's perfect for the high-speed division once that opportunity arises for her. This was great. Rena gave her a lot. And she had to really empty out the toolbox to defeat Emma. And here's Rena coming off, again, winning 84 awards at the 5-Star Grand Prix, making it to the semifinals, having great matches, beating, former World of Stardom champion and B. Priestley, beating former Wonder of Stardom champion and Natsupoi in the same night. And here's Emma almost beating Rena. So ultimately, great job on Rena, giving Emma a lot. Emma, that springboard crossbody she does is fantastic. Her version of almost like the 17 roll-up that she does, the way that she hooks it and the way she rolls through, really looks like she has her opponent trapped on the mat. And Rena did a great job of really trying to fight the kick out. Ultimately, though, it is Rena hitting the second rope knee bomb and the third rope knee bomb. That one scores her a 2 count. And then Rena then goes for the Pink Devil. I'm like, oh, that's a good finish. The 2 knee bombs and then the Pink Devil. But no, we're not done yet with the roll-ups. Emma rolls up Rena, and a lot of people in Budokan here, they bet that this is going to be the finish. Yep. Can you imagine? Which is ultimately, that's what you want. You want to be able to blur that line there. Because I don't think anybody thought going in Emma was going to win. But for that split second, they made you believe. And when you can make people believe, that's where the money is. Ultimately, though, Rena is able to come back, hits the Pink Devil for the 3 count, 3.5 stars. Fantastic. Almost going 9 minutes. A really great match. This was one of the best matches on this undercard because the undercard was pretty solid. Obviously, this show is going to be remembered for three of the best matches you'll see all year, back to back to back. But as far as the undercard matches goes, Rob, this is one of my favorites. This was really good. This goes to show you how bright the future is. Again, Emma, a rookie. Rena, even though not a rookie, 18, 19 years old, leading matches this good, 9 minutes, pay-per-view. I mean, she's a wrestling genius. She really, really is.
Moving on. Oh, I've missed a tag match out. Have I put it in the wrong order? No, I haven't. It's just not on there. I'm so sorry to Rice or Bread versus Ai Sakura and Kikyo Furusawa, but you don't get a graphic, which is a shame because legitimately it was another really good tag match. We appear to be building, as I mentioned last week, to Rice or Bread versus Ai Sakura and Sayaka Kurora for those New Blood Tag Team Championships. And with 85 New Blood shows on the horizon in October, clearly we need title defenses. I think that's a good shout. Hanako and Ai Sakura in particular are going at each other, which is presumably just based on the fact that Ai Sakura dares to be 28 years old, which Hanako finds absolutely disgusting. Makes her physically ill, and rightly so, because some would argue that there's no point after 28. It's all downhill after 28. You're over the mountain, some would say. Nobody says this. But again, I thought that Fury worked into what was quite an enjoyable tag team match on this undercard.
I appreciate your Ozzy Osbourne reference, buddy. Over the mountain. I'm not sure if you did that on purpose, but good job. Yeah, and I will totally disagree. I'm 43 and I feel great. I feel exercise every day, get some rest, eat right, folks, and watch some Stardom. That's the Matt Turner daily diet for you.
I mean, to be fair, I do one of those things.
You definitely watch Stardom.
I watch Stardom.
I can't believe it took me 2 seconds to figure it out. Isn't Waka 30 or 31? That's the whole funny
I think
part.
Waka is the oldest of the, yeah, and she
But she's her tag
during
team
the post
championship
match,
partner.
during the post match at Korakuen, she makes that point very clear to Hanako, but Hanako's just red mist. 28 years old. You disgust me.
How dare you? The gall of Aya Sakura.
Absolutely.
I'm really digging Hanako and Waka as a team. I hope these two are the team going into the Goddess tournament coming up here in just about a month. In about 6 weeks' time, because they're gelling really, really well together. And they were great here. Kikyo Furusawa is another one. I mean, she's got that aura presence. She's really great at being able to do the moves within the moves at someone who's only been wrestling 6 or 7 months. Her development is really, really clear that she's fantastic. But for me, Rob, the best parts of this match, you just mentioned it, was Hanako and Aya Sakura. They had,
absolutely, yeah.
we just talked about a whole bunch of hidden gems in the 5-star Grand Prix. Their match was a hidden gem in the 5-star Grand Prix. I mean, I like how Aya, she's uses those leg kicks to try to gauge where she needs to get into with Hanako. And they always do a great job. Like, she eventually gets Hanako where she needs to get her down on the mat, and she locks in the triangle choke. And they do a great job with Hanako trying to get her up, and then Aya rolling through and either back in the triangle choke or the Japanese armbar. They just have some really great chemistry, Aya and Hanako. And now you throw in the fact that Hanako does not like people approaching 30. So we will keep on the lookout for our next meet and greet with Hanako, where they're like, "No, Rob, like, no, I'm good. You know, we're good. We'll move on to the next one." But I thought this was really good. Obviously, Hanako hitting the JP coaster on Aya to get the win. Again, Kikyo Furusawa is somebody that is ever improving each and every outing. And again, she's in my opinion, the most loaded roster in all of wrestling. So she's only going to consistently get better. We've seen that with her and Emma and everybody else. 3.5 stars for me, buddy. Again, I'm really enjoying the gelling of Waka and Hanako. My only issue, same issue with you, is they should be called Wanako, not rice or bread. So
really missed a trick there. Again, you mentioned Emma and Kikyo. Let's not forget that we are currently still waiting for the return of Ankanai and Matoy Hamabe, who are still out with injuries, and they were well ahead of where they should be for their experience level. So when you throw them back in the mix as well, whenever it is that they return, the rookie class that that Stardom have at the moment is incredibly exciting. We now move on to a match I have actually got a graphic for. It's Mei Seira and Dark Silhouette versus Yuna Mizumori and Sayaka Kurora. And the only reason I've actually downloaded the graphic for this is because Mei Seira finally hit the checkmate, which she successfully managed to do 0 times during the 5-star Grand Prix. So, got the win over Yuna here, which, when you look at the result from Korakuen, I thought was a little bit of a surprise. But it was a solid tag team match, Matt.
yeah, again, we knew this was kind of just going to be a little preview for the Korakuen Hall match that was just a few days later, which again we're going to talk about here after we talk about this fantastic show. Yeah, you know what? May hits the checkmate, and then you have Sayaka Kurora, who never hits the sliced bread. So you have two wrestlers that win a lot of matches with a lot of different moves, but they have their ultimate finish. That for some reason their percentage of hitting it is not good. I thought Dark Silhouette, she worked really well with Yuna. Obviously, May and Yuna have fantastic chemistry. We saw it in the 5-star Grand Prix. We saw it in their high speed championship match last year, and we saw it just yesterday as of this recording. Because again, despite the result, I thought they had a fantastic match. Sayaka Kurora, to the shock of nobody, was terrific here. And again, Dark Silhouette worked really, really well with Mei Seira. So there might be a possibility we might be throwing, an outsider coming in for the Goddess of Stardom tournament, depending on what her injury is. And again, we'll get into that with her match with Koguma. Again, excellent stuff, but ultimately this was all about May versus Yuna. And I thought Yuna would have picked up a win here to kind of get a little more momentum, maybe a win over Dark Silhouette. But Mei Seira does pick up the win. She hit the checkmate again. Wow, you can tell that's now we're ramping things up here, buddy. I thought this was great, really solid tag match. 3 3/4 stars for me.
Hey versus Mi Vida Loca. And this is the first in a series of matches I want to see Bozilla have. The first one I want to see her have a proper singles match with is Azusa Inaba, because that opening exchange between the two, where we get an almost cartoonish version of Bozilla literally just holding Azusa Inaba away as Azusa Inaba flails wildly trying to punch her, I thought was a brilliant way to open this show and really assert that dominance of Bozilla. And then, of course, we get Momo Watanabe and Bozilla, and that's what we all really want to see. Just two people beating the hell out of each other, because wouldn't that be nice? This was a really fun trios match. In truth, a really good undercard trios match, which is this is Stardom's bread and butter. Two very, very good factions as well. Mavida Loca are going from strength to strength. We've mentioned before how we want to see Rina and Itsuki on more Stardom shows, but when they do come, it's like they've been a part of Mavida Loca for years and years. Their chemistry is really, really good, whether they are teaming with Akira or Suzu or Bozilla like they were here. I thought their chemistry was really good. Overall, obviously, Hate get the win, but I thought this was a very fun match that did exactly what it needed to do.
Rob, I see your point, but the Bozilla match I want to see is her and Saki Kashima. I mean,
that was the second one we're going to talk about, good sir. It's the match that we need. So,
they have a T-shirt. That's a dream match. There's a T-shirt.
Yes.
There's a T-shirt.
I mean, Saki's a braver person than I. She slapped her in the face. I certainly wouldn't be doing that. Twice. Exactly. Yeah. Brave Saki. Where's Saki Kashima got this courage from?
I guess Sherry was throwing it to her when she was on commentary, I guess.
Maybe Shuri's closer to an in-ring return than we think.
Yeah. Again, yeah, the Bozilla stuff was terrific, and she's great. She fits in so well with this current Stardom roster, especially Mavida Loca. Easy for me to say. I thought Izuki, Aoki, and Momo Watanabe, they had the best chemistry in this match. Like, I like the Konami and Rina stuff. I thought that was great, but that ending sequence with Aoki and Momo Watanabe, those last like 2 minutes that they had, I'm like, man, I would love to see this go 10, 11 minutes, because those two really brought the fire. Like, great hard-hitting wrestling. And again, excellent stuff. Azusa Inaba, she was terrific here, but ultimately she was just kind of the foil for Bozilla to beat the crap out of. We know that we need to keep Bozilla strong, right? We know there's big plans for Bozilla to push her up the card for championship matches, whether it's the end of this year or beginning of next year. So ultimately, she's very dominant in this match, but it really just comes down to Momo and Aoki, and really a terrific ending sequence between the two. I had it 3.5 stars. Really excellent stuff. You kind of have your heel faction, then kind of your tweener faction. So you knew you were getting a lot of bending and breaking of the rules, Rob, with people not giving a damn, because who's going to tell these 6 wrestlers like what you can and can't do in a match? It's just these two factions kicking the crap out of each other. These two factions on these quote-unquote Stardom World shows. Again, we got 3 coming up this weekend. Two are Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. We got 3 coming up. I would love to see the intermingling between these factions, either tag matches, 6-person tag matches, or 8-person, because they just seem to work really well together, and it's going to be chaos in the best way possible. Again, 3.5 stars for me, my friend. This is a really, really fun match.
Moving on to the 8-woman tag between Stars and God's Eye, Yuri Ahimi's first time as a fully fledged member of Stars. And even though she fits very well, obviously we have the brand new ring jackets for Stars looking very good. Little bit more choreography might be needed, because poor Uriah Himi on the entrance went to not only the wrong side of the stage, then didn't quite do things in the right time. However, rather than it being a calamity, it was just endearing. It really did look quite endearing, and obviously Uriah Himi had a fantastic performance on the Korakuen Hall show as well that we're going to be talking about. This here was a good fun match, and it's always great to see Saki Kashima back in action. Obviously, isn't doing the full-time Stardom stuff at the moment with one thing and another, so it's great to see her whenever she's back, just adding something completely different to this God's Eye setup.
Yeah, like, not only that, it's like, okay, so here comes Uriah Himi's first match, official member of Stars, and they all come out with the jackets. And I'm like, okay, here we go. I remember a couple years ago, they had like the kindergarten painted jackets, which was still really cool because they all kind of went, I'm like, oh, well, we're really upping the budget here. So clearly you have Wingori on one side. And we know that Momo Kogo and Uriah Himi, Peach Lily, are a tag team. So clearly she needs to go with Momo Kogo, and she's standing next to Hana, and they're all looking at her. And I picked up on it in like 2 seconds, and Hana just breaks character. She starts laughing, and she's like, no, go.
It was it Hana that was, I knew one of them was pointing, and I couldn't remember which one it was.
You could see Uriah Himi was just like, everybody thought it was funny, right? Everybody was laughing.
Yeah.
Momo Kogo, Ida, Hana, and Uriah Himi, you could see, like, once she finally gets to where she needs to go, and she's walking down the aisleway, you can see she's just so disappointed in herself. And I was like, oh, I hope that doesn't bother her in the match, because I've seen that before where you'll mess something up or word on a pre-show promo, and that's all that you're thinking about, and you mess stuff up in the
Sure,
match.
yeah, of course.
Even in sports, like when you're playing a football game, if you miss something, the game keeps going. You have to detach yourself from that. Like, you can't go back and fix it. You got to keep playing. And I've seen it in wrestling all the time. And considering the fact that she's a rookie and this is a big match, her first match in Stars, we get the new the fancy ring jackets. As soon as the bell rang, she was fantastic. She was great in this match. You mentioned it was great seeing Saki Kashima. For me, it was great seeing Kyoto Katatsu. Massive fan of her. Great seeing her back. And again, she had a great outing here. Great outing in Korakuen Hall. Her and Saida, to the shock of nobody, worked really, really well together because it's the hard-hitting style. Obviously, Saki Kashima plays her role really well. Ronnie Yagami and Momo Kogo, they have some really great underrated chemistry. And as great as all 8 of these wrestlers are, maybe just because I'm a massive fan of her and I like the fact that she's overachieving in every aspect of life, for me, the MVP of this match is Momo Kogo. I thought Momo Kogo has really been showing out. It really seems since Mayu left to go to Marigold, it's like somebody needs to step up, not only in Stars, but in this company. Momo Kogo is taking advantage of every single second. She is always putting in 110% effort on these Stardom World shows, and even during the 5-star Grand Prix, regardless of how much time she had or how much time she didn't have. Rob, Momo Kogo is really one of my favorite wrestlers on this loaded roster. And again, she fits in really well with this current crop of stars. And again, we'll be talking about her big match possibly coming up later on this month because of what happened in Korakuen Hall. And I think her and Uriah Hime work really well together as a tag team. This is really great stuff. Obviously, a big showcase for Hina, and rightfully so. Her getting the big win on Momo Kogo. 3.5 stars. Really excellent stuff between 8 world-class wrestlers.
We then go into a 4-way tag match that really does highlight the depth of tag teams that we have in Stardom at the moment. FWC versus the Reiwa Tokyo Towers versus O2 Line versus Saori Poi. And Matt, I know that you had O2 Line to win this, and I sort of viewed this, and I don't know if Stardom will have viewed it in the same way, but I view this as a sort of unofficial number 1 contendership match for BMI 2000's belts. And I think that Reiwa Tokyo Towers are a very good fit to have that match with BMI 2000, whether that's the main event for Korakuen or whether it's, a house show or whatever it is. And I think at the moment, obviously, with Azumi and Miyu Amasaki, at the time they were still Artist of Stardom champions. You've got Azumi embroiled in a feud with Saya Kamatani as well. I just felt like it was a great time to start elevating both Amisori and Lady C as well.
This is one when I did the preview on it last week, partner, because you were a little bit under the weather. I was like, see any one of these teams winning. Like, there's no real wrong answer here because, again, you're heating one of these tag teams up for maybe a future shot at the championship, or again, the Goddess tournament coming up. And there's a lot of people that I've talked to this past week, and they think that Amisori and Lady C are going to win the Goddess tournament. Again, we don't even have any teams announced, so that's a great shout. My one little nitpick, I'm going with this. 4 of the best teams in all of wrestling, 8 world-class, unbelievable wrestlers, 6.5 minutes. At the same time, this was great. Outside of the big 3.
They maximized it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Why do I always say maximize every second you get? They sure did. Like, they started off with the Kuma dance. Amisori wants nothing of the Kuma dance. So, like, we kind of throw that out. And then within, like, 30 seconds, we get this blitzing 4-way with Lady C, Azumi, Hazuki, and Soriano. And I'm like, oh, my God, this is crazy. And I can't write down fast enough the counters and where they're going back and forth. And again, ring positioning and timing and footwork. One thing gets messed up. It's the domino effect. And then Rob for about 8 seconds. And you didn't watch this live, did you?
I didn't know.
Okay. For about 8 seconds, the internet lost their mind because we had Soriano and Azumi teaming up. And it was like 6, 7, 8 seconds. But literally, as soon as this match was over and I kind of tweeted out my quick thoughts, everybody was losing their mind that Azumi and Soriano had a quick spot together. And they kind of looked at each other. And then they kind of went on a sequence because we never seen really Azumi and Soriano kind of have a big match. But there was some great stuff here. Like, who doesn't want to see Saori Poi versus O2 Line? They had a segment there. But it was like they kind of they got the comedy stuff in there. You kind of had your 4-way spots. You kind of had some really cool things. And then, like, FWC had a really cool tag spot, and then O2 Line had a really cool tag spot, and then Saori Poi, and then the Tokyo Tower. So everybody got like really quick things in. Ultimately, though, it looks like that Miyu Amasaki, with the help of Azumi, is going to put Ami Sori away. Ami Sori escapes out of the tensai. She hits bomb after bomb after bomb. We get all sorts of crazy stuff on the outside between these four great teams. And then the Like a Thunderbolt to Miyu Amasaki. Again, this was this was the day that I wrestled at the Comic-Con, and I talked to Andy Hedder, obviously, because I was teaming with him. And he said, what was, other than those last three matches, what is something that I need to see? I said, it's not long. I said, but don't blink. You need to watch this match. I had 3 3/4 stars, but I mean, this was really terrific. As you mentioned, 6.5 minutes, buddy. They took advantage of every single second. Obviously, Sori planting Miyu Amasaki with the Like a Thunderbolt to get the win. Again, 3 3/4 stars. Really great stuff, and just a little bit of a taste of what we might be getting in November with that tag league, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, the first of two definitive submission or the losses for Miyu Amasaki, which is unfortunate. Natsuko Tora and Mayumi Ozaki. Right, let's get this out of the way now. This was not a no DQ match. It should have been a no DQ match, and the fact that that was not a stipulation makes absolutely zero sense to me. It was disappointing because of that, because without that stipulation, you've got Daichi, who is having to let everything go, where Mayumi Ozaki is pretty much solely using the chain. And I mean, it completely negates then what anyone else does in any other match on this card. And again, we've said this before. Wrestling, you have to suspend disbelief, but this did test that mantra. And when Natsuko Tora, who is the leader of the heeliest faction to ever heel when it comes to Stardom, is obeying the rules more than Mayumi Ozaki, or at least is doing her best to at least try and hide her rule. It completely took me out of the match. Like, there was some good parts, as you mentioned, when we were building to it. There's good parts to this match, and actually, from an in-ring aspect, it was better than I thought it was going to be. However, why this wasn't a hardcore match or a no DQ match, we've seen how Mayumi Ozaki wrestles. We've seen how Natsuko Tora wrestles. It just makes sense. This whole match was born out of hate interfering in an Oz Academy match. Surely that's premise enough for Ozaki wanting to beat the hell out of Tora. Make it a no DQ match. Make it so that Daichi doesn't look like an absolute chump for the entirety of this match, just going, oh no, Ozaki, stop it. Ozaki,
1,
stop it.
2,
Yeah,
3, 4.
Daichi's she's literally hanging the poor woman. Like, we are literally watching her hang her with a chain. Do you think you could maybe throw it? No, we okay? Okay, both women are bleeding. No, we okay, Daichi? We just gonna okay? We'll just carry on then. And yeah, again, it was fine for what it was, but that completely took me out of it for the vast majority of the match.
Not only that, Rob, but you look at this show, and we're going to remember this show for a long time, because what Stardom has been able to do as us for fans last handful of years, they on these pay-per-views, they give you a great 1-2 punch, Wonder, World, or whatever. They gave us a great 1, 2, 3, and we knew going in what we were going to get with those three big main events, which we're going to talk about: the IWGP, the IWGP Joshi, the Wonder, and the World. You put this no DQ, it's going to stand out. It's a match that's like, oh, this is going to be completely different. But they never put the stipulation on there. The fact there was all that cheating in front of poor Daichi wasn't even my biggest fault with this match, Rob. My biggest fault with this match that Mayumi Ozaki beat up every single member of Hate multiple times. So you're telling me Momo Watanabe, who just won the 5-star Grand Prix, who were presumably, hopefully, is going to main event Dream Queendom. So, and put 4,000 people in the seats at Sumo Hall, is getting beat up by Ozaki, as well as Azusa Inaba. I think Konami was out there, and I think there was somebody at Natsuko Tora. So, or not Tora, obviously Tora was out there, Ruwaka. So you had the tag team champions out there, and you had Momo Watanabe, the winner of this 5-star, and Konami, a legit ass kicker, getting beat up by one person. To me, I had a bigger problem with that than I did the cheating. Did I have a big problem with the cheating in front of the referee? I sure did. And I kind of knew it was just like, okay, now they're kind of both doing it. But at the same time, you look at it in a real sport. If you're playing basketball or football or soccer, whatever, and you're constantly punching somebody or committing a foul, and you're doing it in front of the referee, and the referee doesn't do anything about it, where does the heat go? The heat goes to the referee. The referee is not selling any tickets. We met Daichi several times. Nice guy. Nobody's paying to see him. They're paying to see the Sai Kamatanis, the Momo Watanabe, so on and so forth. The heat goes to the referee. That's not what the referee is there for. And again, Daichi, in my opinion, is the best referee in all the wrestling, bar none. And he was just made to look like a fool. And we kind of knew that we kind of had an idea that was going to happen. So I kind of had my guard down a little bit there. My biggest problem, buddy, was that Ozaki beat up all 5 or 6 members of Hate in this match by herself. Now, if she had other members of Oz Academy with there and it turned into a wild brawl, I had no problem with that. No problem with that. But the fact that she's beating up, again, your tag team champions and the winner of the 5-star Grand Prix, that presumably is going to main event your big show at the end of the year with Konami, and I think Azusa Inaba as well. It's like, yeah, I don't buy that. And she's an out. It would be one thing if this was Shuri, if she was a Stardom wrestler. I'm like, wow, look, she's not a Stardom wrestler. You have this outsider come in and beat up your cool just about every member of your cool faction. That didn't jive with me. Once you kind of get sift through the BS, the hard hitting, the bombs back and forth, the fact that I didn't know which way it was going to go. I think me and you both picked Ozaki to win. So we thought that like with Tora constantly kicking out and then you get the mist and whatnot. That was fun. They kind of bumped it up a little bit for me. 3.5 stars for me, my friend. Kind of just like going off that tag match we just talked about where it's like boom, 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 boom. And then you get this. So you're kind of like, all right, let's, no disrespect to both these ladies. Let's wrap this up. Let's get to the Suri versus Suzu Suzuki match. Again, 3.5 stars. I get what they were going for, but I don't think it hit really on any levels because of, again, should have just made no DQ to make it stand out. And the fact that, I know I'm beating a dead horse. Why is Ozaki beating up 5 or 6 members of one of our biggest factions?
I don't know. Moving on then, as you mentioned, Sari versus Suzu Suzuki. Now, Matt Turner, I wanted this to be hard-hitting. I wanted this to be bruising. I wanted this to be a continuation of their 5-star Grand Prix match, which was excellent. Matt Turner, I don't need to tell you that I absolutely loved this match. For me, this is Sari's best singles match in Stardom since Mayu. This was fantastic. I enjoyed this more than both Momo matches.
What about Shuri at the conversion? Well, now you got to think. I get it.
The fact that I do have to think about that does go to show how much I love this match. And I think,
thinking,
do you know what? I think I enjoyed this more.
The Shuri match was more hard hitting. This was hard hitting. Don't get me wrong. This had some scary bumps.
This had some danger in it. Good grief.
This was all Japan 90s, which again is my jam. But you look at the toll it's taken on those big the fact that Akiyama's still wrestling is just crazy. But again, I digress. There was some wild. I mean, we know that Suri hits that Uranagi with some danger. Mm-hmm. I would have to go back and think to anybody she's hit it on more dangerous. And that is after the top rope German suplexes and the regular German suplex. I mean, these two, again, we knew it was going to be hard hitting. You knew there'd be some big bumps, but like the hard hitting was right where I knew it was going to be. But those big bumps, I was like, oh my, I was legit, especially those last 2 Uranagis, the regular one, and then the hammerlock one that she does. I was like, as soon as that 3 count, I'm like, okay, that's got to be the finish because it's the crescendo. And we knew that Sari was going to win. As soon as like she hit the 3, the only thing I was staring at was Suzu. I wanted to make sure Suzu, she seemed fine. Again, she must have tucked her chin and everything. And I was like, wow. But yeah, this was, again, we knew that and this is what it needed to be because it was built up in the 5-star that way. And then when Sari had the successful title defense against Konami, no one wanted to answer the challenge. Suzu was like, oh, no. I'm getting this shot. Like, here we go. This was great. Again, we made mention a little bit ago, the year Suzu Suzuki is having. This is another one. This is just another great match in her catalog this year. Another phenomenal match. Suzu Suzuki, what she does in losing, all of her, probably majority of her best matches is her looking at the lights. And sometimes that's okay. sometimes that's okay. Again, she's only 22, 23. I know a lot of the Suzu fans like, oh, another loss. Folks, she's going to be a champion in this company
Oh,
soon.
without doubt.
Whether it's white belt, red belt, IWGP, all of them. She is fantastic. She has aura. She's a leader of her own faction. Suzu is a world-class wrestler. Again, somebody just into her young 20s. So you got to keep in mind, Rob, she's got about 6 or 7 years before Hanako doesn't like her. So she's got that going for her as well. So you have to throw that into consideration. Um, this was great. And how Jasari just so over as a heel. Like as soon as the match starts, people are booing Sari and they're cheering for Suzu. And we didn't even lock up yet. Match goes to the floor early. Suzu and Sari, they just whip each other into the chairs. I mean, this gets out of control early and rightfully so. Suzu gets the advantage with that corner knee strike and the Joshi dropping for a 2 count. Eventually, Sari comes back with the Quesadora double stomp, and then it's a second rope stomp. And then I like how she does this double stomp onto the knee to work to the knee bar. Like she has so many different variations of how she works it. So I really, really enjoy that. Suzu just fighting back and forth. We get an apron fight, which never ends well, Rob. You know, when two wrestlers in a main event match are on the apron and they're slugging it out, you know they're not going to be like, after you, let's get back into the ring. You know it's going to end in danger. And this is probably the first real big bump we get with the Suzu. It's almost like, again, a rite of passage. Suzu in these big matches has to hit that apron pile driver, which I will say this, to pull back the curtain, that is very safe. Suzu does a great job.
Incredibly safe, yeah.
Yeah, Suzu does a great job protecting her opponent on that. But at the same time, the illusion is, boom, on the apron. So you got to give Suzu credit for another reason why Suzu is great. She understands the hard-hitting nature of these big matches, but she knows how to protect her opponent as well. But still, it's a really cool visual. But Rob, that is probably the latter half of this match, probably the safest bump is a pile driver on the apron, because we get to a top rope fight, top rope German, and then she hits Suzu hits the top rope German, then hits the locomotion German for a 2 count. Suzu then goes to the top rope to go for the Sky Twister press, which he's only hit twice, once on May Sarah, back earlier this year at All-Star Grand Queen, once to defeat Micah in the 2020. I know she's breaking out the big moves, but Sari's like, no, absolutely not. I know that if she hits this move, it's going to be curtains for me. She stops it, and she's like, well, Suzu, while we're on the top rope, I may as well second rope German you. And that was just as bad as the top rope German. I mean, great stuff there. Then we kind of get a little bit of a settling. We get some insane headbutt exchanges because, Rob, these two wrestlers dropping each other on their necks, not bad enough. Now we have to use said neck that holds the head up so we can headbutt each other as hard as humanly possible. Excellent stuff there. Suzu gets the advantage of the strike exchange, but that only lasts about a second as Sari is able to stop Suzu's momentum with an insane exploder. She goes for the hammerlock exploder. However, Suzu blocks that. She hits a tequila shot and follows it up with 2 more double German suplexes. That's a 2.9 count. And then Sari is able to come back with that insane running double stomp that she does. Again, she has so many different variations of the double stomp, whether it's a second rope, the top rope, the one in the knee, the one that she does in Jujuku face off the table, which I swear is a rite of passage now for her. Ultimately, though, she uses that double stomp. She hits these 2 insane exploders back to back. Suzu kicks out, but I love this finish. So she hits the 2 high angle exploders, but she goes right to her nuclear finish, the hammerlock exploder, dropping Suzu on the top of her head for the 3 count. This was phenomenal, Rob. Another phenomenal match, not only for Suzu, not only for Sari, but for the IWGP Joshi Championship. 4 3/4 stars for me, Rob. This was exactly what we knew it was going to be, and then some. Again, when you have matches that are set up, like what you're going to get, this over-delivered in every single aspect. And again, Suzu, even on a loss, in my opinion, comes out better in this match because of the pure brutality that she brought in this match. 22 minutes of great violence, nonstop, but yet at the same time, you had selling, you had psychology, you had the storytelling, you had fighting spirit. Because ultimately, the IWGP, that's what it's all about, that Antonio Inoki fighting spirit, and you got that in spades between these two, Rob. And I just want to point out something, and we know we talked about this like 3 years ago when Bushiroad won an IWGP Women's Championship. We pretty much knew, and we've known that this is a belt that really Gedo didn't care too much about booking. Like, could care too less. Look at the wrestlers that have held it, Rob. Kairi, Mayu, Mercedes, Shuri, and now Sari. look at the matches we have had for this belt. Again, for a belt that was kind of like, whatever. Stardom has done a great job making this belt as important as the other two, the Wonder in the World. The only other problem with that, the Wonder in the World have been held by Shuri, Saya Kamatani, Starlight Kid, Tam Nakano, Julia. They've done a great job making this belt just as important as the other two. The match quality this belt has had in its short history is second to none. Mayu versus Kairi, Mayu versus Mercedes, Mayu versus Momo, Sari versus Shuri, Shuri versus Mayu. Add this one to the list. Literally the point for our Patreon, maybe the next month or two, we're going to have to do our top 5 favorite IWGP Joshi Championship matches because this one might make the list. Again, this was phenomenal, Rob. And for me, I don't know about you, somehow it only got better. I don't know how they do this. I really don't know how.
Starlight Kid and Tomoka Inaba. This is the reason I was so excited that Tomoka Inaba is on more Stardom shows, and this is why me and Matt, it's almost become a running joke now. Hashtag sign the Inaba sisters.
I think they're signed.
I mean, there has to be some sort of joint contract in place with them and JTO at this point. I mean, they're on basically every single show now. But this is why there is such a special aura around Tomoka Inaba. I think there's been a lot of focus recently on Azusa, and rightly so, because she's phenomenal. Again, she's 18 or is coming up to being 18, I believe, in November. But Tomoka Inaba over the last 3-4 months has just leveled up completely, starting with that, that phenomenal match with Starlight Kid at the start of the 5-star Grand Prix, and then somehow just blowing that match out of the water here in just an exchange of brutal leg submissions, some absolutely hellacious strikes. And Starlight Kid does selling like very few others in this match. She makes Tomoka Inaba look like an absolute bloody killer. She really does. And even though Tomoka Inaba ultimately comes out of this match the loser, and I don't think there was many Stardom fans that thought Tomoka Inaba would be coming out of this as the winner, she feels special. She feels elevated, and she feels like she belongs in that arena, in that main event arena, looking for a big singles title in Stardom. And I'd be more than happy to see her repeatedly challenge for this belt. I think she is more than capable of holding it. Let's not forget she is 22 years old. She is not old at all. She has got a lot of years ahead of her. And if this is where she is at the moment, her ceiling is it's non-existent. Again, we have got a very special talent. Conversely, on the flip side of that, what a year Starlight Kid is having. Like, in terms of match quality, it is just hit after hit after hit. It doesn't matter whether you pair her with, established stars like Natsupoi or Sioriano, Konami even, or whether it's Tomoka Inaba or Hanako. Starlight Kid has this inane ability at the moment to just draw the best out of every single opponent in these matches and construct really, really good matches. And it's a shame in a way that Saya Kamatani is on the tear she's on, because it does overshadow somewhat just how good a run Starlight Kid is legitimately having. And, again, you look at the matches that she's had for this white belt: Azumi, Konami, Natsupoi, Sioriano, this one with Tomoka Inaba, the surprise package against Hanako, which again was better than all of us thought it was going to be. A blinding match against Rena, Rena's first match for a big singles title in Stardom. And Starlight Kid has drawn the best out of every single one of them. She is a phenomenal talent. Again, is someone you can build this promotion around, is someone you can elevate to be at the same level as Saya Kamatani. She's not quite there yet, but in terms of baby faces, there's no one even close to her at the moment. I think she's a phenomenal talent. Her and Tomoka Inaba have phenomenal chemistry, as proved by both of their singles matches. Outstanding match. Outstanding match. I actually liked this a little bit more than the Azumi match at All-Star Grand Queendom, which again was phenomenal. I enjoyed this match more. I thought this tore the house down. And actually, put a little bit of pressure on Saya and B to follow this up. It was that good.
We'll get into that because I was like, I don't know how they're going to do it, and they did it.
They did, yeah.
And I can't wait to ask you your order of what your top 3 favorite matches, because everybody I talked to have a different order, and there's no wrong answer. And obviously, I'll ask you that after Sai and B. I pretty much agree with everything that you said. Other than I like the Uzumi match at All Star Grand Queendom just a touch more, just a touch. But again, it's apples and oranges. It's you say tomato, I say tomato. I mean, everything you said with Starlight Kid, you throw in that what she's doing as a tag team with Starbomb, the time that they get to when they get the team, the great Artist of Stardom Championship matches that she has had. And again, we're going to get into it because that Korakuen Hall main event was unbelievable, teaming with obviously Biyu Amasaki and Azumi. And then you throw in again the stuff that they did at the beginning of the year with Neo Genesis in the Unit League matches. Starlight Kid is in my top 5, maybe top 4 for overall wrestler of the year. She's in there with Bandito. Azumi is definitely up there now. Io and Kamatani still pretty solid. My solid number 1. This was great. I mean, the two of them are targeting each other's leg, and it makes sense. Like, why wouldn't Tomoka Inaba? It's like I tapped out Starlight Kid, the Wonder Stardom champion, on one of the biggest shows of the year for Stardom, night 1 of the 5-star Grand Prix, by going to the leg and going to the Tomoka Stranglehold, which is what she knows. Not only that, but you take away the legs of Starlight Kid, you take away a lot of that offense, that high-speed style offense, the high-flying style offense. So the two of them are going after the leg. And the way that Starlight Kid, especially now that she's a solidified main eventer, because she's dabbed along the main event scene quite a bit over the last few years, but really ever since winning the Wonder of Stardom Championship against Natsupoi back at Dream Queendom back in December 29th of last year, that she's having more time to tell her story, Rob. It's not the high-speed match, 8, 10, 12 minutes. It's not some of these occasional main events. She's getting that 17, 18, 19, 20 minutes to tell her story. So she's still doing a little high-speed stuff, but she's adding more storytelling, more psychology, and especially more selling. And when you are probably the company's top babyface and you're carrying the second biggest prize in the company that is treated as a pretty much a main event belt, because that Wonder Belt has been treated as a main event belt for years, pretty much ever since Kairi. Then you throw Momo, Arisa, and obviously Kamatani's done, Tam, Julia, so on and so forth. That the Wonder Belt, we've seen at main event pay-per-views in Korakuen Hall before, Rob, and obviously they drawn great money with it. So now she's a different level, but the selling that she does and the fact that people get behind her, the drama that she's able to pull out of her opponent, herself, and the crowd as well. What ultimately everything gets over. This match gets over. Tomoka gets over. Starlight Kid gets over. The thing that gets over, in my opinion, the most in this match is the Wonder of Stardom Championship, because these two batter each other with every single thing, especially the leg. But ultimately, what is the thing that gets over in the match? Because they're fighting for. What are they fighting for? It's not 2 points in the 5-star Grand Prix. It's not a number 1 contendership. They are fighting for whoever wins this, whoever withstands the beating, is able to come out of this with the Wonder of Stardom Championship, the white belt. So the Wonder of Stardom Championship, that gets over the most in this absolutely instant classic match. And I like how in the beginning they both go to the leg. Eventually the match goes to the outside and Starlight Kid hits the Asai moonsault like 2 minutes in. And I'm like, I know this match can go around 20 minutes. Why does Starlight Kid hit the Asai moonsault so early in the match? That's one of her biggest moves. I'm like, oh, because it makes sense, because Inaba rips apart at Starlight Kid's leg at each and every outing she can in this match. So she hits the big move there. Not only that, but how many times does Starlight Kid try to go for the moonsault in this match, Rob? And she can't get it. She can't get it because of the work done. There's this one spot where Starlight Kid, we've seen her do it for years and years and years, buddy, where she goes for that jumping 180 crossbody, and Tomoka Inaba just hits a spin kick right to Starlight Kid's leg. Like, the precision and timing of that is really next level. Not only for Starlight Kid to be able to feed the leg, but for Tomoka Inaba to hit the knee. Really great stuff there. Starlight Kid is able to come back with a lot of her big style offense, the shotgun knee. She goes to Tomoka Inaba's leg. We get a really great limb work match. Tomoka Inaba hits the gourd buster. And we've seen Tomoka Inaba use this quite a bit, but Starlight Kid sells the knee. And I've been seeing like Tully Blanchard and Magnum TA use that move back when I was a kid in the 80s. And usually you're selling the shoulder, the neck, or the sternum. But if you think about it, you're falling down on your knee, and Starlight Kid's selling the knee. And I thought that was genius. Not only that, but when she sells the knee, because she's taking a face bump looking directly at Tomoka Inaba. So when she's grabbing the knee, what does Tomoka Inaba see? I'm right here. I'm in your line of sight. You can't hide that on me. So clearly, Tomoka Inaba then goes after the knee because Starlight Kid told her what was hurting, which I thought that was great. Starlight Kid's able to come back. She hits a second rope dragon screw, leg whip, and a tiger driver. That scores her a 2 count. Back to the leg crusher goes Starlight Kid. Tomoka Inaba gets the ropes. Inaba then counters the tiger suplex into a rolling ankle lock, which I thought that was great. The way she's able to roll through that into the ankle lock, I love that. Eventually, Starlight Kid gets to the ropes. Tomoka Inaba pours on more strikes. She goes for the Inaba drop. However, Starlight Kid escapes the Inaba drop, but she eats a head kick, and then Inaba locks in the stranglehold. So she uses the head kick to get Starlight Kid down on the mat, locking in the stranglehold. And this Starlight Kid selling was next level. You can tell, Rob, she is a disciple of Mayu Iwatani. This is Mayu level selling on this stranglehold. Literally the point where it's just like, will they pull the trigger? You're blurring the line. I think the majority of us thought that Starlight Kid was retaining here, but you're blurring the line and then she goes to get to the ropes. I'm like, okay, she's gonna get to the ropes. And Inaba pulls her back. And now Starlight Kid is like literally pulling on the ears of her mask. And I'm like, maybe Daichi calls it and they run it back. Like I'm thinking of all this stuff in my head. Eventually, Starlight Kid is able to get to the ropes. Tomoka goes for the 1-shot, 1-kill, hits that. And I'm like, maybe that's the finish because not a lot of people kick out of that. 2.999. Inaba goes for a second 1-shot, 1-kill. Starlight Kid drops Tomoka Inaba on her head with the Black Tiger pile driver and then hits a tiger suplex on one leg. And I was like, what a great sell job from Starlight Kid. Again, the belt is getting put over in this big sequence of finish here between the two. Starlight Kid tries to go to the top rope. However, she can't get there because of the knee. Because of the damage, get to the knee. She can't get there. The crowd is willing her on. They're both babyface. At this point, they're like, come on, get to the ropes, get to the ropes, get to the ropes. Inaba goes back to the knee. Eventually, Starlight Kid hits the Black Tiger pile driver. And we always talk about great camera work in professional wrestling can really add on to a little part of a match. Starlight Kid goes to the top rope. You know she's finally going to hit the moonsault. You don't see it until the last second, Rob. She hits the moonsault onto the knee. I'm like, oh my God, that is genius. Because you don't see it until she's right there because you figured she's just going for the moonsault. Hits the moonsault onto the knee, locks position, and then Tomoka Inaba, very much like Starlight Kid 2 minutes earlier, the selling. Can she get there? Eventually, Kid pulls her back. She locks the foot over and almost is like a figure four onto the neck of Tomoka Inaba, forcing the tap out. This is as good as pro wrestling gets. This is 5 stars, no doubt about it. Match of the year contender. And again, Rob, that you have to put this in contention as one of the greatest Wonder of Stardom Championship matches of all time, which is something we've been saying a lot. You look at this run that Starlight Kid is on, and we know not unless the eye thing happens, which obviously we don't want it to, you're getting at least one more Starlight Kid Wonder of Stardom Championship match. To me, it's Saya Kamatani as a number 1 run with this belt, Momo Watanabe, and I think Starlight Kid has just jumped Arisa Hoshinki's run on this match alone. That's how great match quality that Starlight Kid is having with this. The Natsupoi match, she won the belt. The arena match, you mentioned Izumi. Every single match is absolute must-see, and she's elevated every opponent. And most importantly, Rob, she's not only elevating herself because it's like anytime they're ready to pull the trigger on her red belt run, we're ready for it. She's ready for it. We've seen that she can main event shows carrying in great matches and selling tickets. The biggest problem is the red belt champion right now, as somebody that you might not want to take that belt off just yet. But considering the fact she's elevated this belt after Io is elevated, after Kairi is elevated, after Momo Watanabe, after Arisa, Tam, Kamatani. It's just like there's so many great matches with this belt. How do we further elevate it? Somehow Starlight Kid is doing it. She's in a class of her own, buddy, and an absolute class of her own. Brilliant stuff. Again, 5 stars for me. In my opinion, the best Tomoka Inaba match I've ever seen. I like this one just a little bit better than the Micah red belt match she had for the JTO show. I think it was last summer.
Definitely. These two have a tremendous chemistry together. Speaking of Kamitani, and as we mentioned, these two really did have to pull it out of the bag to follow the Wonder of Stardom Championship match. Saya Kamitani defeating B. Priestley and Matt. It was always going to be a question of, let's see what B can do in a high-stakes singles match. I think this was B's best singles match, definitely since her return. And considering the last championship match she had was against Utami back in April 2021, and that was a really, really good match, I think this was better. I think this was really, really well constructed. I think it was better than their match in the 5-star Grand Prix. I think this really did prove what an asset B. Priestley is going to be now that we know that she has signed full time with the promotion. And again, it blew expectations out of the water.
Yeah, again, I know a lot of people like Tomoka and Starlight Kid should main event. I see your point, but the red belt's your most important belt. But at the same time, we've seen Momo main event over Kagetsu back in 2018 and 2019. But I was like, boy, how did these two? And I think they knew going in. Like we know that Sari and Suzu is going to be a banger. We know Starlight Kid and Tomoka Inaba is going to be a banger. And they sure were. So I was like, man, I don't envy these two. I thought these two delivered in spades. This is another great match in the catalog that is Sai Kamatani. And I'm going to echo what you said, even add on to it. This is the best B. Priestley match ever. Whether it was a red belt run, which I think is a very underrated, underappreciated run, whether it was her matches with Momo, that Utami match, she challenged for the red belt. She had some good stuff in NXT and NXT UK. Don't get me wrong. This was her best match ever. I can't even think of one that's maybe the Momo match when she was red belt champion in her last match, with Utami, might even be the only ones that are even in the same category. B absolutely brought it. And when you're in the ring with somebody operating on a level like Saya Kamatani, this was literally the perfect ending to a phenomenal show. It was really, again, it was a solid show that basically had 3 must-see matches back to back to back. Like your adrenaline, you're watching the show, your adrenaline's at an all-time high. And like, how can they possibly top it? And they had a completely different match. I mean, it starts out really great chain wrestling. Eventually, the match goes to the floor. Kamatani's trying to hate stuff, but B. Priestley's a badass. Again, she was a former member of Oedo Tai, now known as Hate. So, like, she's out Kamatani in some of these aspects by throwing her to the chairs, beating her up. I mean, B with those forearms. We see sometimes when you get the Gaijins coming over to Stardom or just any Japanese wrestling company, they don't hit as hard as the Japanese wrestlers. But again, she's been in Stardom before. She brings it with those forearms. Then she hits that. We've seen her do that double jump, double stomp before, but she did it while Kamatani was on the apron. Do people understand how difficult that is? Like, that is so hard to do. And the trusting on Kamatani for her to hit that at a certain spot, because you're coming down with all that force, doing a double jump onto somebody's back. She hit at the right spot. B was, and again, and I know there are a few people out here that didn't like her 5-star run. I know me, you, and Andy Header absolutely loved it. And I'm loving her in Stardom. I thought that, again, her 5-star run was great. This was a completely another level. This is main event Brie Priestley. Really great stuff. The match goes back to the floor again. We get a forearm exchange onto the floor because why not, Rob? Why not? I thought excellent stuff there. Saya Kamatani blocks a German. She hits the Northern Light suplex locomotion chain back to back. We get some Germans on. Eventually, the match goes back to the floor. We get a German suplex onto the floor, a German suplex exchange onto the floor. I mean, these two really, really bringing it. B then hits a dragon screw leg grip into a half crab, and Saya Kamatani goes back to like her selling here, Rob, reminded me a lot of the Golden Phoenix. You remember how like she was next level selling when she was white belt champion, really putting over B. Priestley's, like how dominant that that dragon screw leg whip into the half crab was. I really enjoy that. B goes to the top rope. We get a top rope fight, which Sai Kamatani usually wins and usually hits the top rope hurricane, in which we saw that. B fires up. She tries to German suplex Sai Kamatani. Kamatani rolls through with the quesadora double stomp and then hits the spin kick onto 1B Priestley. B is able to hit a rebound German, which I thought that was great. And then B goes for a Falcon Arrow, but Sai Kamatani blocks that into a Star Crusher. But Kamatani can't follow up. So we kind of have technical wrestling to beginning, broad, insane bumps, big bumps. Kamatani finally hits the big move, the Star Crusher, and that's the exclamation point into that paragraph because now we get breathing. Now we're able to tell different levels of storytelling and psychology because we have all this great stuff going back and forth. Again, very much like Kid and Inaba getting the belt over at this point in this match, which is really good. Don't get me wrong. Now we're putting over how important this belt is. All this crazy stuff is done because what does the winner ultimately get? The richest prize in all of wrestling, in my opinion, the World of Stardom Championship. So these two are really fighting through a lot of big stuff in order to win this match. B counters the schoolboy suplex into the plan B. I love that because not a lot of that the schoolboy suplexes we see from Kamatani rarely gets countered. But I liked how it was blocked into the Plan B, which B. Priestley did win a lot of her matches in the 5-star with. That scores are 2.9. B hits the Kamigoye knee and a brutal B trigger, and then finally sets Kamatani up for the Queen's Landing. And I knew my Kamatani's going to kick out, but Kamatani's not looking at the ref, Rob. And it's these little things that I noticed. I was like, for half a second, very much like the Sayaka Kurora match, I was like, they flipping the belt here? They made me believe, because usually it's like they hit the big move and they're kind of looking at the ref or kind of kick countings. Sai Kamatani's face was over at the other end, not even looking at, I believe it was Daichi, and made you believe for that split second that B was going to win, which ultimately added so much more to this match. She goes to the Queen's Landing again. Kamatani counters with a Frankensteiner for a 2.9. We get this insane stiff exchange as they're ramping up towards the end. Eventually, Kamatani wins the exchange, hits a Star Crusher. I'm like, that's got to be the finish. B kicks out at 2.999. Again, just showing how important this championship match is. Kamatani hits the Kikagoye and the 360 Star Crusher for the 3 count. I know I'm gonna get a lot of heat from what I'm about to say from the B Priestley fans that are the people, our fans that don't like B Priestley. I don't care. This was 5 stars for me. My level of excitement for this was at another level. I gave it 5 stars. I think Andy Header was right around there with me as well. I thought this was phenomenal. For them to keep the crowd where they were for over 20 minutes after a 22-minute near murder with Suzu and Sari, for a 20-plus minute epic of Starlight Kid versus Tomoka Inaba, for them to have this great match and for the crowd to be invested, I gave this 5 stars. And Rob, I will tell you this, for a good part of my day on Saturday, I did not know what match I liked better between this and the Wonder. Even to the point when I did my favorite match, because I always put up on YouTube on every Saturday my favorite top 5 matches of this past week. I didn't know where I was going to go until I hit the record button. So I thought this was absolutely phenomenal.
I mean, obviously, I think the Wonder of Stardom Championship was far and away for me. I think it stood out as the best match, and then I think this and the IWGP Women's Championship match were 2A and 2B. I thought this was, no pun intended with the B thing, but. I thought this was great. I thought it was a really, really good match, like I mentioned. And yeah, absolutely blew all expectations out of the water and really does go, as I mentioned before, to showcase just how much of an asset B is going to be as a full-time member of this roster. Moving on, then, we have one more show to talk about, and we are going to be whizzing through a couple of these undercard matches because we've been going 2 hours and we haven't even talked about this show yet. So, again, please bear with us if we do whiz through some of the undercard matches. But Stardom did run Korakuen Hall on the 10th of September. It was live on Wrestle Universe, and the attendance was 1,109 people, a marginal increase on the previous Korakuen Night show, which was 1,101 people on the 24th of July. It is a 30.21% decrease on the previous show at Korakuen, though that was the 5-star Grand Prix quarterfinals and playoffs where they sold it out with 1,589 people. It does continue the record of every 2025 Korakuen Hall show surpassing 1,000 people, and this is the 15th Korakuen Hall show in a row that has surpassed 1,000. You would have to go back to October 2024 to find a show from Stardom at Korakuen that hasn't surpassed 1,000 people. And this is the 19th of the last 20 Korakuen Hall shows that has surpassed 1,000 people. So truly, truly phenomenal numbers from Stardom. In terms of quick results, a 3-way match opened the show. Hazuki defeated Emma Maishima and Akira Kuragane with a Boston Crab in 5 minutes and 56 seconds. 6-woman tag team match, the EXV team of Hanako Waka, Tsukiyama, and Rian defeated Aya Sakura, Sayaka Kurora, and Kikyo Furusawa. Hanako getting the pinfall over Sayaka Kurora with the JP coaster in 10 minutes and 33 seconds. 8-woman tag team match, the God's Eye team of Saki Kashima, Amisori, Lady C, and Kyoko Katatsu, and the Mavida Loka team of Suzu Suzuki, Bozilla, Itsuki Aoki, and Rini Yamashita ended in a double countout, in 12 minutes and 16 seconds. Tag team action next. Saori Poi, Natsupoi, and Saori Ano defeated the God's Eye team of Tomoka Inaba and Rani Yagami in what was a little bit of a hidden gem on this show, with Saori Ano pinning Rani Yagami with in 8 minutes and 14 seconds.
Hey, buddy, I'm sorry. There's an ice cream truck that was going by here. What was the finishing move of this match?
Saori Ano pinned Rani Yagami with Future of Stardom Championship match. Hina, the champion, defeated Uriah Hime with a mad splash in 13 minutes and 17 seconds. What a run Hina is on with the Future of Stardom Championship, by the way. 8-woman tag team match, a match that everyone thought Bea Priestley was going to turn on Stars and join Hayden, but she didn't, so that's good. Hanan, Sayarida, and Momo Kogo and Bea Priestley defeated the hate team of Saya Kamatani, Natsuko Tora, Momo Watanabe, and Azusa Inaba, with Hanan pinning Inaba with the backdrop, holding 9 minutes, getting a little bit of revenge for the 5-star Grand Prix. A little bit of a blight on this show. The CMLL Japan Women's Championship match between Koguma and Dark Silhouette was unfortunately ended via referee stoppage in 4 minutes and 54 seconds when Dark Silhouette legitimately injured either her shoulder or her elbow. I couldn't quite tell. She was unfortunately stretched out, and because of that referee stoppage, the title actually changed hands. So your new champion is Koguma. High-speed championship match, Mei Seira versus Yuna Mizumori ended in a 10-minute time limit draw. And then finally, Artist of Stardom championship match. New champions Hate, Konami, Rina, and Fukigen Death. Hell yes, defeated Neo Genesis, the pretenders to the throne. Starlight, Kid Azumi, and Miyu Amasaki. Konami submitting Miyu Amasaki with a rear naked choke in 20 minutes. So, Matt, let's whiz through a couple of these lower card matches. A genuinely fun little opener, considering this only went 5 minutes. And I thought that Hazuki linked this quite well.
Yeah, again, Akira looks really small in this render. I can't stop not thinking about
Just, again, every render now, I think they should make her progressively smaller.
Yeah, I mean, she looks really cool because it looks like she has a crown. But anywho, yeah, just kind of get through some of these real quick. It's Hazuki. You know that Hazuki's going to get the win here. But Emma, they gave Emma a lot in this match. I thought Emma looked really, really good. Akira as well. Akira and Hazuki, they worked similar styles. So that I think that they worked out really, or their styles hit really well together. Again, I thought Emma really shined in this match, ultimately for Hazuki to be able to beat her with like a version of the Lion Tamer. Good opener to start, my man. 3.5 stars.
We then move on to a 6-woman tag. Hanako, again, displaying her flagrant hatred for anyone over the age of 28, and Isakura showing that age is nothing but a number. And ultimately, Hanako won out because she pinned Sayaka Kurora with the JP coaster. But this was a fun little match. Again, I think EXV, considering they are without big hitters, and there was a picture actually with EXV going out for some sort of meal, and Xena was with them. So it's nice to see Xena again. Hopefully she is nearing a return. But I think in the absence of those big hitters, EXV are sort of carving their own little niche as this trio, and the relationship between the three, I think, Matt, is going from strength to strength.
Yeah, this was for this loaded card. This was the one that completely exceeded expectations for me. This I knew it was going to be good because all these wrestlers are great. This was fantastic, and again, I would love to see Hanako, Waka, and Rion challenge for those artist belts sometime soon because they work so well together. They really, really do excellent stuff. Obviously, as the Batmobile goes by, Bruce Wayne, is that Bruce Wayne? Kikyo Furusawa never ceases to amaze me how great she is, and Aya and Sayaka. Absolutely terrific as a team, and it really looks like we're building up for a New Blood Championship tag match with Aya and Sayaka versus Wanako or Rice or Bread, which ultimately that's what this match was to do. But again, this match really overachieved for me. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Obviously, Hanako getting the big win there. 3 3/4 stars for me. Again, I thought this was terrific.
Moving on, we got an 8-woman tag between God's Eye and Mi Vida Loca. Quite intrigued that this ended in a double countout, but all all issues with that immediately evaporated when I think back to the fantastic exchanges between Saki Kashima and Bozilla, which quite honestly are the highlight of this match.
Yeah, really fun exchange again. Saki kind of made her own bed, and then she had a lie in it when she's coming out with that T-shirt. So I thought that was hilarious. Obviously, that was the main crux, but I loved Ami and Suzu. I mean, just really great exchanges between the two. Again, Aoki and Rina, excellent stuff there. I would love to see them as a tag team in the Goddess of Stardom tournament. Kyoko for our Kyoko Katatsu was terrific, as well as Lady C. Again, really great teamwork with Lady C and Ami Sori. Again, maybe we're building to something here, Rob, but you're ultimately right. You had your hard-hitting stuff, obviously, again, with Ami and Suzu, but then you just had what really popped the crowd with Saki Kashima and Bozilla. You know, her trying to go for the Kichi Kasai and then slapping Bozilla not once but twice, ultimately leading into Bozilla looked like chasing Saki Kashima into almost like the entranceway there in Korakuen Hall. Eventually, nobody can get in the ring in time, so I understood the double count out. A really, really fun match. That again, I think anytime we see Bozilla and Saki Kashima on opposite ends of the ring, it's gonna be something we're really entertained by. 3.5 stars for me, my friend.
With Bozilla, I'm always really intrigued with how she is going to approach matches that take her out of her comfort zone. And I mean, so, we know that she's great in ring. We know that she's a great powerhouse. We know, like, her matches with Amisori are going to be great. We know that she works really well with wrestlers who can use her as a base, like in Azumi, for example. That match was phenomenal. But I'm always really intrigued when it comes to, like, the comedy elements. How is Bozilla going to react to that, but still hold some of that aura? And I think her and Saki, I mean, Saki's wonderful at the comedy without it being too overbearing. And I think her and Bozilla were a fantastic partnership in this. They really were. Moving on then, and I know you really, really enjoyed this match, Matt. Saori Poi versus Ronnie Agami and Tomoka Inaba. This is quite honestly turning into a bit of a Tomoka Inaba cast, never mind the Stardom cast. But again, we talked on the last show about the depth of tag team that we have on this roster. And again, throw Tomoka Inaba and Rani Agami in there, who, don't forget, were a team in the tag league last year, could well be a team in this year's tag league as well. And if this is a preview for what we can expect in this year's tag league, this tag league is going to be very, very, very exciting.
Yeah, this match was announced until like maybe 24 hours or so before the show, because we kind of knew what the big matches were going to be, and I was like, wowzers, like Saori Poi versus Tomoka and Rana, like on Korakuen. Okay, this was phenomenal. I mean,
It
again,
was brilliant, yeah.
Saori Poi again. We thought maybe going into the 5-star, even before the 5-star, maybe some red or white belt. Obviously, they did challenge for those respective belts at the Rendezvous show. We thought maybe then after the 5-star, one of these wrestlers would have won it, and then we would have built them back up. Clearly, that's not what we're going for between now and the end of the year. And if there's no red or white belt shots for Natsupoi or Soriano in the near future, just have them win the tag league and give them an 8-month run with those belts, because they're phenomenal. We know, we've seen it because they sold out Oda Ward on their own proto show. And then we know the next level wrestlers. I mean, again, if they're not going to have a singles run, just put the tag belts on them, and you can main event Korakuen and do well over 1,000 with them as the main event of the Goddess champions. This was phenomenal. And I literally forgot just how great Tomoka and Rana were as a team. They were so in sync, like the way that they did like the kick sandwiches, and the way that like Tomoka would do a kick to feed Rana into a kick. Like they were almost as seamless as Saori Poi. And again, considering the fact we've only really seen Tomoka and Rana as a straight up tag team pretty much only in the Goddess tournament last year, where Saori Poi has been a team for the better part of 2 years. So it's just like Tomoka and Rana were so good together. I mean, you basically had the speed and the great teamwork of Saori Poi versus just the brutal nature that is Rana and Tomoka. And again, Rana just ever improving every step of the way. Really great stuff there. And I loved it as we're getting towards the end. You do see some great new teamwork from Tomoka and Rana, and hitting a version of the Eliminators Total Elimination, taking me back to my ECW days. Excellent stuff there. Soriano comes back with a fisherman suplex into the cross arm camel clutch to Rana Yagami. Rana can't get to the ropes. However, Tomoka Inaba comes in the ring and just flat out kicks Soriano right in the head. Like all of a sudden you see that boom, it's just like does the deadpan cell, which I thought that was great. Then we see poor Natsupoi. She comes in the ring and she's like, how dare you do that to my partner? She gets a little bit up on Tomoka Inaba, but you always know what happens, Rob. Poor Natsupoi. Tomoka Inaba just kicks the bejesus out of poor Natsupoi. That was something. Eventually, they'll kind of like Tomoka Inaba and Natsupoi take each other out. Natsupoi does the dive to the floor, and then we get a little mini match with Soriano and Rana Yugami, which was really excellent stuff. We get the super kick into the Potter ring from Soripoi on to Rana Yugami. I thought that was going to be the finish, but Rana's able to get out. I thought that was great. Soriano hits a beautiful German suplex and then follows that up. Rob, go in with the Tombstone for the 3 count. Go ahead. Go ahead. You're going to say it.
Tombstone.
Like you said no, and then he went and did it, folks. He can't help himself. How can you?
Can't
How
help
can
myself.
you? This was phenomenal. 4.25 stars for me, buddy. I was over the moon on how great this match was.
Speaking of over the moon, how great this match was. We sung the praise of Uriah Himi, especially over the 5-star Grand Prix, saying that she was our Fighting Spirit Award winner. I thought it was Mina Shirakawa coming out. Obviously, coming out in the gear that Mina gave to her, which I thought was a really nice touch. I know that Mina actually tweeted something out about Uriah as well, which was lovely. I know I keep flitting as well between Uriah and Uriah. I'm sorry, I don't know which one to say, so I say both. But I thought she again put in a tremendous performance here. I thought the addition of the gear leveled up that aura somewhat. I don't think anybody expected her to beat Hina here, but she gave a phenomenal account of herself as she continues to develop at a phenomenal rate. Speaking of phenomenal, this run that Hina's on with the Future of Stardom Championship, really underrated and needs to be talked about more, especially these last couple of matches have been really, really good. The para matches with Ronnie Yagami, the Uriah Himi match, this upcoming match with Hanako, because it was Hanako that came out to challenge after this match, is going to be great. Hina, I really do feel, and again, we said that this was going to be the best possible thing that could happen to Hina, was giving her this title and saying, right, you've got a long run with it. Let's see what you can do. Let's build that confidence. And again, it's coincided quite well with her finishing school and being more of a full-time member of the roster. But it's completely changed her in terms of that confidence. And I think that's done her a world of good, Matt Turner. And she led this match really, 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 really well. Because it's worth noting, again, she is only 18.
Yeah, this was great. And again, you're throwing the Mina Shirakawa touch on it. I mean, so it's like it goes to show you. Again, Mina's absolutely crushing it over in AEW. Had that great Ring of Honor championship match with Athena in the main event of their last pay-per-view. So it's like you're getting the Mina Shirakawa stamp on Uriah Himi before the match even rings, and then before the bell even rings, and then you get this great match. And you're right, partner. Hina's having phenomenal matches with the Future of Stardom Championship, and then she goes in the 5-star Grand Prix and even didn't get a lot of wins. Had a lot of great matches, the Hanako match, obviously the Momo Watanabe match, obviously the Suri match, and she's had a lot of really great outings. This was another one. I mean, you had to follow a must-see tag match, and these two followed. Really, really great stuff. Again, you're right. The fighting spirit from Uriah Himi, she's getting pounced kind of pretty well early in the match, and it looks like maybe about 7-8 minutes in that Hina's going to put her away with a mad splash, and then we see Uriah Himi. She fires up. She hits that handstand head scissors and then a running X Factor, which we've really never seen her done before. Then she does that reverse triangle choke, which pretty much is her go-to finish. Uriah Himi then hits, she grabs the wrist, gets wrist control, and won't let go, and is just booting the head in of our Future of Stardom champion in Hina. I really like that. And Hina had to really come back from that. Like, Hina's getting battered here. I mean, just boot after boot after boot. She hits the Hina special to basically stop the onslaught of the challenger that is Uriah Himi. And then Uriah Himi is able to have a few roll-ups, the 2.8, a 2.9 in there, each and every roll-up. It was getting closer to the 3 count, to the point where you got to those last 2. The crowd was really biting on that. Again, blurring the lines there. Excellent stuff there. Then Uriah Himi hits this rolling neck crank and then puts a bridge on that reverse triangle choke that she does. So I really enjoy that. Hina frantically gets the ropes, which I thought was great. Hina's able to come back with that Northern Lights jackhammer, but can't follow up because of the cell. And again, that's the big exclamation point onto the end of that paragraph. That was that really great transition between the two. Really great selling the drama, really, really dragging out a great finish between the two. Eventually, Hina hits the STO and the Mad Splash. Again, having to hit those three big moves back to back to back to put away Uriah Hime for the 3 count. I had it at 4 stars. And the fact that Hina was really selling frantically that reverse triangle choke, Rob, and that she had to hit her 3 big moves to put away Uriah Hime, even though Uriah Hime is the one looking at the lights, she comes out of this match a lot better than she did going in, to the point that a lot of people were talking about Uriah Hime on social media. Again, not only for this great match, but the fact you got the Mina Shirakawa stamp of approval going into this match in front of a jam-packed, red-hot Korakuen Hall. Again, Uriah Hime, even though with a loss, a lot more stock on her. As long as in these tag matches, she goes to the correct side, Rob, I think we're all good on the entrance. We're all good. Again, 4 stars. Phenomenal performance from 2 great, young, fantastic wrestlers.
Yeah, the choreography needs to be a bit more on point, maybe with the entrance for all 4 members of Stars. But here, I thought Uriah Hime did a very, very good job. Moving on, then we move on to the 8-woman tag, where there was a little bit of alarm that B Priestley might join Hate. That didn't happen, which is good. And like I mentioned, Hanan did get a modicum of revenge over Azusa Inaba for their match at the 5-star Grand Prix. I still do believe that we are eventually heading towards a Hanan versus Saya Kamatani title match. I feel like that's almost a given at this point. This only went 9 minutes, but it was very, very good for what it was, Matt Turner.
Yeah, this match, when the bell rings, we go out of control. The bell rings, and all 8 of these wrestlers, this person's this. And again, you have 4 different sides of Korakuen Hall. So every single side is getting some sort of people getting thrown into chairs. The match gets in the ring, and who's going to take the heat? Poor Momo Kogo. And how this goes to show you what a next level athlete Saya Kamatani is. Momo Kogo's in one corner, Kamatani's on the other. Kamatani leapfrogs from Tora's back to Momo Watanabe's back to double stomp onto poor Momo Kogo. I'm like, yeah, let's just try this. We're just going to try it on Momo Kogo, all 90 pounds of her, see what happens. Just insane. And then her and Hanan, a lot of this match is built upon Kamatani and Hanan. Again, maybe that's where we're going. We shall see, because I mean, the Izumi stuff, there's a lot of theories out there, which we'll get into. But eventually we do see Sai Plancha to the floor, which is just next level. And then we get some really great stuff with Hanan and Azusa Inaba, as you said, partner, basically to kind of get that win back from night 1 of the 5-star Grand Prix. Great win, gory stuff. I thought B Priestley fit in really well into this version of Stars, and we did make mention once B signed her full-time contract, where would she go into a faction? And the obvious thing was to go to Hate, because she was great with the Wedo tie, but there's 84 members. And I thought if she's going to stay babyface for a little bit, I think Stars is the perfect fit for her. And she fit in absolutely perfect with Momo, with Hanan, with Saida. Ultimately, though, this was Hanan. This is basically a revenge match for Hanan. Hanan just blitzing poor Azusa Inaba, blowing her out of the water towards the end, hits the backdrop hold, pinning Azusa Inaba. 3 3/4 stars for me.
Moving on, then, we won't spend too much time talking about this match. We'll talk more about the fallout. Unfortunately, obviously, Dark Silhouette sustaining an injury only 4.5 minutes into this match. I can't find anything yet to see how severe the injury is. I know Dark Silhouette put something on Twitter about 7 hours ago, just saying that she's going to basically keep people updated, and thank you for all the well wishes. It's never nice to see someone go down with an injury, and especially to see a title change hands via an injury as well. It's an interesting one, because I don't know if Koguma was supposed to win this match, but also with the post match, maybe she was supposed to win it, because obviously she wins this match, which is her first singles title win since 2014. She hasn't won a singles title since defeating Io Shirai for the high-speed title back in 2014.
It's a big name.
You may have heard of her. But yes, so a big moment for Koguma, and she gets very, very overwhelmed. And following the match, Hazuki, of all people, comes to the ring and suggests that they face each other in a double title match, which apparently is a theme. Because obviously after the Saya Kamatani B match, Azumi came out and challenged, and we're getting a double title match at Korakuen between those two on the 27th of September, as we mentioned earlier. But Hazuki will be putting up her Spark Joshi World Championship, friends of the show, Spark Joshi, and Koguma will be putting up a newly won CMLL Japan Women's Championship as well. No idea on when that's going to happen. But with that title match being set up, I do wonder if Koguma was supposed to win the match, just perhaps in obviously slightly better circumstances. This is Dark Silhouette's second run with the belt, so she wouldn't have lost anything apart from the belt by losing the match. So again, it's nice to see Koguma having that singles title. Unfortunate for Dark Silhouette, and obviously we send out our hopes and prayers that it's nothing too serious.
Yeah, if Kagama was supposed to win this match, or if she wasn't supposed to win this match, what a heck of an audible. You know, she just wins the belt. I'm like, hey, let's get who doesn't want to see Hazuki versus Kagama? So, I mean, what a heck of an audible. But, I mean, let's talk about the one big positive. Kagama with that pink gear. Phenomenal. Looked really
good gear, yeah.
Really cool. And then Hazuki had the matching. Did you know Suzuki held the ropes open for her? And then she had pink, like, Zuba pants. I was like, wow, how about that? What an instinct tag team they are. As far as the injury goes, Rob, I say this all the time. I'm going to say it again. Professional wrestling is it's a game of inches. If the move is a half an inch over to the right, it doesn't look good. If the move is a half an inch over to the left, there could be an injury. You know, I knew about the injury before I watched this match, and I watched the spot twice. It's an accident. It's an accident.
Oh,
And
God,
accidents
yeah,
happen.
absolutely.
Yeah, it looked like it was the shoulder. It looked like it was the shoulder. It was an accident? Obviously, I'm not going to rate it for obvious reasons. Accidents
Obviously.
happen, and obviously, as Rob said, we here at the Stardom Cast hope nothing but the best for Dark Silhouette, a fast and smooth recovery. Interesting to see now where they're going to go with Kagama with that belt. Because again, I don't think she was expected to win. I could be wrong. You know, we don't know. We're not dirt sheet writers. Regardless, maybe we see maybe a little three-way feud for that belt once Dark Silhouette is fit to wrestle again. But regardless, again, we're getting Hazuki versus Kagama for not only the CMLL championship, for the Spark Joshi championship as well. Selfishly, Rob, I hope that happens in the U.S. somewhere in the Northeast. That's all I'm going to say.
Be their first singles match since 2021, which goes some way to showing just how long it is since these two have been feuding. Moving on, then, high speed championship match, and certainly a contender for the match of the night. This was phenomenal. It's the best utilization of the rule set, definitely, that we've had since the rule change. I don't understand why Yuna doesn't win.
I do.
Look, let's sort of talk about the entire thing. Obviously, the match goes to a 10-minute time limit draw. Following the match, Yuna is beside herself, basically pleads with Taro Okada to make a one-off change to the rules. Let me just have one more match against May. Make it 15 minutes, one fall. Please give me this one chance. Taro Okada agrees. May agrees, but Waka Tsukiyama then suddenly comes in. How she dares, because she is over 28. So why Hanako was let her into the ring, I don't know. But she comes in and basically says, whoa, you've had your chance, you've lost. Let me have a go. Because obviously Waka Tsukiyama had such a stellar 5-star Grand Prix. Believe losing to May Sarah in 28 seconds. So high speed, certainly. But Waka Tsukiyama throws her hat into the ring, and it looks like May Sarah has a decision to make. Match was phenomenal. Had no notes about the match whatsoever. Thought it was great. These two have proven again and again and again just how good they are as a partnership, whether it's their previous high-speed match, whether it's their 5-star match, or whether it's this. I personally think this was Yuna's moment. And I know you disagree.
I agree.
Personally think. Go on.
I'm sorry. Go, you finish.
No, after you.
I agree this is Yuna's moment, but there's going to be a bigger opportunity out there. They wouldn't have had her cut a promo in Korakuen Hall talking to Taro Okada to give me another match for the high-speed championship. But under the old rules, Rob Goodwin, under the old rules, if they weren't going to put it somewhere where it's going to have a little bit more eyeballs on it. At the end of this month, Rob, we know we have what is going to be a slightly above average match with Saki Kamatani versus Azumi. Korakuen Hall, I just checked the tickets this morning. It's just about sold out. My guess that is going to be another one that's going to break or be right around the previous record. So now you have the fans waiting longer. Why not put that on as the semi-main event, as your lead into Kamatani versus Zumi? Because and I totally agree. I thought Yuna was winning this match and she should be the next high-speed champion. But maybe they thought, not just yet. Maybe we can get a little more juice out of the orange. Maybe we can get just a little bit more out of it by doing it again in this building, because this is the building where they had that match last year that the people were ready for her to win. But now we're going to do it in front of, instead of 1,100 people, 14, 15, possibly 1,600 people, because people are going to, and it's going to be on a Saturday. People are going to be there for Izumi versus Saya Kamatani. And then you throw this underneath where they're going to be molten hot for Yuna to win. We're not under these newer rules. We're under the old rules. I think Yuna should have won this match, but after the promo, I'm like, they set something up even better for her to get a win with more people watching. So I think that is what's going to happen September 27th. Is they're going to run this. I think Waka does get her championship match, Rob, and I think May's going to beat her in 2 falls in less than 90 seconds, because that's the Waka gimmick. That's the Waka trick. Because when Waka grabbed the microphone, the people booed. I'm like, they're booing Waka, and the only reason why they're booing Waka is because they wanted Yuna. Because they wanted Yuna. They are so hot for Yuna. And again, I think that's the reason why. Again, I thought Yuna was going to win. I thought she should have won. But when you take a step back and look at it, they're waiting for the bigger setting. Again, they can get more juice out of the orange here, a little more squeeze out of it if they do it there. And I think that's what's going to happen. Now, if I'm wrong and it doesn't happen, okay, then I'm completely wrong. But I would not be shocked. I'm willing to bet a few bucks that this rematch is going to happen on Korakuen at the end of the month.
I mean, there's a couple of things to take from that. Why you didn't say the juice out of the pineapple, I've got no idea. Damn
it.
I imagine that the reason that Korakuen Hall booed Waka is because she is over 29, and as we know, that is unacceptable. I don't know. I do wonder as well if they didn't do a title change here because they knew there would be a title change in the main event.
Yeah, good possibility too.
That's quite a possibility. I think there is a chance that they want to draw more tickets to the next Korakuen Hall show. Not that it sounds like they need another draw. I don't particularly like the disregard for the new rules either. I feel like Yuna I like the idea of her cutting a promo, of having that time and having that one-on-one FaceTime with Taro Okada. That's fine. Why change the rules? I can't beat the champion in 10 minutes, so give me another 5 minutes. Well, no, that's not the rule set. I feel like, okay, have a rematch. That's fine, okay? May didn't beat you. But I think keeping the new rule set, which, let's be perfectly honest, hasn't been very well sort of built recently, to then completely disregard it for a match. What's stopping then Waka doing the same? Whoa. That's far too quick. I want another 5 minutes. I don't really see the point of it. Because if Yuna beats her in 14 minutes, well, that's irrelevant. Because if we'd have had the actual high-speed stipulations that we've had since January, wouldn't have counted. I don't really see what the addition of another 5 minutes and the disregard of the falls really does for Yuna. I'd have just had her have a rematch, absolutely fine, and have a win at 9:58 or something like that. Build the tension to that fall. Or if it goes to another draw, add another 5 minutes on as extra time, additional time, sudden death. I think that would be a better way of doing it than just a complete disregard for the rule set.
That's a good point, but at the same time, you're right. May didn't beat Yuna here because it ended 0-0, which that I really, really liked. That
I enjoyed
0-0.
that. Yeah, absolutely.
Not 1-1 or 1-0. I thought that once you got about 7 minutes in, I'm like, this needs to go 0-0. Like that. This is the story they're telling. And Yuna beat May in the 5-star. May is a fighting champion. She is an over babyface, so she's going to want to take the toughest challengers. And I think the fact you go back to the old rules, because the new rules have not been a home run. They haven't been a strikeout, but they haven't been a home run. But if we go back to the old rules, I think it's like, okay, we're going back to the old rules, maybe just for this one match, because they'll have a longer time to tell their story. 1 fall instead of 2 out of 10, 2 out of 3 falls in 10 minutes. That's a possibility, but I think these two would be better with one fall with more time. Regardless, this was still great. I mean, the fact that they were reversing this the shooting star roll up and the Superwoman like right out the get go to a 0 count and just constantly back and forth. Literally the point where May Sarah, it was going so fast. May Sarah went for her springboard drop kick and couldn't get her footing right. That's how fast this was going. And I was like, wow, like this match is going almost too fast for the fastest wrestler in the world in one May Sarah, which I thought was great. And then that last minute, just the roll ups going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, where you're getting to the closest near fall. Again, I thought this match was great. 4 stars for me. This is the best match, high speed match that I think that they've had, Stardom has had all year. And again, buddy, we'll see. We'll see when we run back the 27th. We'll see if this match is on there or if they do it at a pay-per-view where they really want to crown Yuna. But I think if you're going to get the biggest reaction out of it, you have to do it in Korakuen Hall because again, Yuna got over so well in that match last year. And even when Yuna, Aya, and Sayaka challenged the Work Rate Angels for the artist belts, and we knew that Tam, Natsupoi, and Soriano were not dropping, I think, either V1 or V2. But the crowd was ready for it. They were ready for it because Yuna she's over in every building, don't get me wrong. But the Korakuen Hall crowd, they love her some Yuna. So maybe that's what I think. Again, maybe they're trying to get the most juice out of the pineapple on that one. See, I corrected myself. But if you make me better, you make me better. Again, regardless, great match, 4 stars. We'll see where it goes. I see your point and your concern, and a lot of people they vented to me their concern on it. I agree. Yuna needs to win that belt sooner than later because I think, if you wait any longer, you're going to cool Yuna down a little bit. You don't want that. And I think it is something that needs to be elevated into that wonder and world scene sooner than later. But I think it happens at the next Korakuen. And again, we shall see. We shall see, buddy.
Just an FYI on May Sarah's reign at the moment. She has been champion for 407 days in this second reign, with this being her 7th successful title reign. 409 days, not 407. I apologize. It's the 5th longest reign in the title's history, and her 7 title defenses put her at 4 at the all-time defense list as well. So a really momentous reign for May Sarah. Moving on to the main event, and ladies and gentlemen, what a blessed timeline we live in. As I mentioned, I feel like I've completed Stardom now because Momo Watanabe has won a 5-star Grand Prix and Fukigen Death is a champion in Stardom, and rightly so. I'm sure that you're going to talk, Matt, about how good the match is, and I'll throw to you in a moment because this was a great match, another in the catalogue of great matches that Neo Genesis have had for these belts. But for me, that moment at the end where Konami and Rina do the TCS handshake, the same handshake that Konami and Hana Kimura did in Korakuen Hall when TCS won the Artist of Stardom Championships, remembering that these 3 members of Hate were all members of Tokyo Cyber Squad. It was a beautiful moment, and Konami actually posted something. I don't know if it was on Instagram or if it was on Twitter. Posted a side-by-side of the 2 handshakes, the one she did with Hannah and the one she did with Rina here. And that moment for me very nearly tipped me over the edge. I was, oh my God. Because originally I was like, I recognize that. Why do I recognize that? And then Konami put something on social media. So I thought that was a really, really touching moment to cap off what was a great show and a great match. And also we have new challenges for Hate already for those Artist of Stardom Championships with the Stars trio of Han and Sayurina and Momo Kogo coming out, and that's going to be great as well.
Yeah, I believe it was the same handshake that they did after Han pinned Konami at the end of the 5-star Grand Prix. She obviously Han beat Konami in the finals, and the 2 of them were kind of sitting in the ring, same building. So a lot of lore there. And again, I love how Stardom is throwing back on a lot of old school stuff between what Momo and Saya and Azumi with some Queen's Quest stuff, some Cosmic Angel stuff, and there's them still bringing the Tam stuff in. And then obviously still so much remembrance of the late great Hana Kimura. And again, this was a really a nice tribute to her, especially at the end of this absolutely phenomenal match. I mean, it starts off perfectly with Azumi and Rina picking up where they left off. They had 2, remember, Rob, this is how lucky we were, not 1, but 2 matches in the 5-star Grand Prix because they were in the same block. And then they had that match in the block final, the ultimate semifinal. Miyu Amasaki was terrific here. adding more stuff into her arsenal. Like me, obviously we know Azumi and Starlight Kid. They're the stars in this team. Again, Miyu's great, Meisera's great, but Azumi and Starlight Kid are on a level that not too many wrestlers are operating on right now, and they did a great job making Miyu Amasaki look like $1 million, and she did. Again, I thought Miyu was absolutely phenomenal here. We got some heat onto Starlight Kid. Eventually, Starlight Kid makes the hot tag, 0-2 line teamwork, and then we get some Star Bomb teamwork. Konami was just so brutal in this match in the best way possible with the kicks, the forearms. And again, partner, we mentioned about like Suzu Suzuki's having like an underrated, like top 10 wrestler of the year. Konami's not that far behind her. Konami's having arguably her best year ever between the 5-star, the white belt match she had with Starlight Kid back at the Cinderella finals, just what she's been doing with the tag team stuff and Hate, the matches with Sari. I mean, Konami's having a phenomenal year. Just some really great stuff. I love it how there was this one part where Azumi's trying for the Azumi Sushi onto Rina and can't get it. Like Rina's blocking it, and Starlight Kid comes in with the shotgun knees and helps roll through on the Azumi Sushi. I was like, oh, that was really cool. The Star Bomb teamwork was really on another level here. Excellent stuff here. Miyu Amasaki hitting the run-up DDT using Fukigen Death to springboard off her to hit the DDT onto Konami. I thought that was a really great touch. Konami stops the top rope moonsault onto Starlight Kid, hits a top rope superplex, and then a German suplex for a two count. And we get some really great stuff here. They hit like a Doomsday Bulldog. By them, I mean Hate onto Starlight Kid. I thought that was really terrific. Excellent stuff with Azumi saving Starlight Kid. Again, Azumi was terrific here. And then towards the end of the match, we almost get like a mini high-speed sequence with Azumi and Fukigen Death. Thoroughly love that. It seems like obviously Fukigen Death, I know Rob is going to get upset when I say this. She's more of the comedic wrestler. But when she gets these main events, she's on another level. Like you remember when she challenged Mayu for the SWA belt and she like bust out a top rope moonsault? Like she busts out the chaos theory here. Like again, it goes to show you like when a push comes to shove and she needs to deliver that match quality, she's phenomenal. She is fantastic. Like she was really terrific here. Excellent stuff there. Starlight Kid eventually hits the top rope moonsault for the 2 count. The ref gets blinded. We get the Hate chair coming, and I know it's really padded. I know. I still don't like chair shots to the head. I still don't. I know it's like getting hit with the pillow, but I get it. Chair shot to the head. Konami locks in the rear naked choke. Starlight Kid and I'm sitting there going, because I knew the result of this match because I didn't watch it live, and I was like, I figured Miyu Amasaki's eating the fall here, right? They're not going to have the white belt champion or your runner-up in the 5-star lose, right? It's got to be Miyu. I'm like, maybe it's Starlight Kid, and she's fighting. And again, the selling of the submission, very much like Rob, we just talked about a little bit ago with the Inaba Shangle. The way she sells submissions and panic, and again, considering the fact that she's your top babyface, the crowd really gets behind her, and they really get behind Starlight Kid. Konami realizes she's not going to choke out Starlight Kid just yet. So she hits a sleeper suplex, Rob. Wowzers. I mean, this was like Miko Ano versus Nagisa Nozaki that we talked about this past week on the Marigold Standard. This was almost as bad as some of those Uranagis that Sari threw on Suzu Suzuki, like properly dropping Starlight Kid on the top of her head. Then Rina comes in with the Pink Devil to help out Konami, put out Starlight Kid, because again, Starlight Kid has beaten Rina to retain the Wonder Belt. Starlight Kid has beaten Konami to retain the Wonder Belt. So Rina's like, I know how tough Starlight Kid is. Comes in, hits the Pink Devil. Konami locks in the rear naked choke. I'm like, this needs to be the finish. Starlight Kid doesn't pass out. She taps out, which puts over Konami and that rear naked choke. I thought this was a brilliant finish to end a brilliant show. 4.5 stars for me. Another great match in the catalog that is Rina, that is Konami, that is Azumi, that is Starlight Kid. And yes, Rob Goodwin, your prayers have been answered. Fukigen Death is now a champion in Stardom, in a red-hot Stardom. You throw in, look at all the champions. Kamatani, Starlight Kid, Sari, BMI 2000, May Sarah. None of them are an alien clown, my man. None of them are an alien clown. Is she the top champion in this company, Rob, for you right now?
Yeah, 100%. Okay. Not even close.
You didn't
Not
even
even close.
Okay.
No. There's a reason you put the belt on the clown, and I think it's only to draw more tickets. And I'll be honest, you could have given her all 3 of the Artist of Stardom belts, and it wouldn't have mattered. I also realized I was saying it was Miyu Amasaki who was being submitted, and of course I meant Starlight Kid. Don't know why I've put that it was Miyu Amasaki in my notes. I knew it was Starlight Kid. Never mind. Great match, great way to end the show. And Matt, that visual of all the members of Hate in the ring with trinkets and trophies and belts, I was like, ooh, what a time to be a member of Hate. What a time, sorry, to be one of the 85 members of Hate. Because they has all the gold. All the gold.
But still can't beat up. Can't beat up Ozaki. Anywho, I digress.
I mean, to be honest, I do expect Ozaki to take every single belt at that Yokohama Budokan show, and she's just going to come out like
Mercedes
Ultimo
Monet.
Dragon.
Mercedes
Yeah, or
Monet.
Mercedes Monet. Yeah, of course. Before we get into anything else, obviously, we have already spoken about how Stardom have 3 shows coming up this weekend. Of course, no cards announced as of yet, because, of course, why would they be? They're going to be announced tomorrow once we've actually dropped the episode. But they will be running Nagata on the 13th of September, Kanazawa on the 14th, and then Nagano Sako on the 15th. We've then got a big gap until the 21st when they run Fukuyama as well. So 3 shows coming up for Stardom. At the moment, no cards to be announced. Now, Matt, there is only one thing to do before we disappear and before Rob gets some much needed sleep. And that is, my friend, it's time for Io and Kairi watch.
Io and Kairi watch again. A big shout out to our main guy, Mr. Darren Chatton. Forgive me all the time cues. Not much of an Io and Kairi watch. We basically are about an hour into Monday Night Raw. Io and Nikki Bella are hamming it up backstage, and jealous Asuka does not like this. Nikki and Asuka get into an argument. That sets up a match for later on in the show. A really great match with Nikki Bella and Asuka, with Kairi on the outside being phenomenal. I mean, Asuka's getting booed.
Being Kairi.
Yeah, Kairi, she's the best.
She's a walking highlight reel.
And I feel so bad for her because she's playing such a great sympathetic baby face in this kind of love triangle that they have going on here. Asuka submits Nikki Bella to the Asuka lock, the crossface chicken wing. Afterwards, we do see Nikki Bella kind of in the backstage selling her neck and shoulder. Asuka gets in her face, makes fun of her. Nikki Bella and Asuka are kind of going back and forth. Poor Kairi's trying to play peacemaker. He's like, no, this isn't the time or place for it. You guys already had their match. And then all of a sudden, here comes in Rhea Ripley. Her and Asuka are jarring back and forth. I cannot wait for that singles match. That's going to happen. And then Asuka, this is the gimmick now. This is the backstage gimmick with Asuka and Kairi. I absolutely love. Asuka walks off screen, and Rhea and Nikki Bella are mean mugging poor Kairi. Kairi has the poor puppy dog eyes on. I'm sorry, she's my friend, but I know she's being a jerk. And then nothing's being said, and all of a sudden you hear Asuka off screen. This is the last 3 weeks. You constantly hear this, goes, Kairi! And then poor Kairi, just because she's must be afraid of Asuka, then just leaves and then follows Asuka. It's so great. It is so great what they're doing. So that's all we really have for Io and Kairi to watch. Obviously, I think next week we're having the contract signing for Io versus Stephanie Verker for the match coming up on the 20th at WrestlePalooza, which is shaping up to be a loaded show and a loaded day of wrestling, my friend, because All In is earlier in the day. Then we have WrestlePalooza. And actually in the morning, we have Tokyo Joshi Pro, Wrestle Princess. And at night, we're going to be going seeing the Mighty Slayer. So the 20th of September is a jam-packed day in the best way possible, brother.
Absolutely. And with that, that is the end of the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. We truly appreciate every single one of you. You can subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a 5-star review and a comment. It really does help us out. And it's a completely free way to support the podcast. Literally takes 13 seconds on Spotify. So yeah, if you can, it really does help us out. Patreon.com/the Stardom Cast for a whole boatload of bonus episodes. You can get all of these episodes early and ad-free for as little as $1 a month, as well as a whole host of other tiers and perks as well. On top of that, of course, you can find us on social media at the Stardom Cast, unless it is Threads, Blue Sky, or Instagram, in which case we are Talk Joshi. You can talk to me on Twitter at @RealRobGoodwin. Mr. Matt Turner, sign us off, good sir.
Folks, questions, comics, comics and comments and
Comics,
suggestions.
absolutely. Yeah, sure. Why
Absolutely.
not?
I love comics. Anything you need from me, Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and the Twitter is the easiest, fastest, and best way to get a hold of me. Or you can shoot me an email. That's perfectly fine. Our email address is thestardomcast22@gmail.com. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for another fantastic episode of the Stardom Cast. We greatly appreciate your support. Can't do it without you. It's like I always say, it's just not my podcast. It's our podcast because we're almost together and everybody's different. Everybody's special.